Live.
My foot was up a balloon.
This is Bruce Buffer, and this is the moment you've all been waiting for. It's time for the MMA-Holes!
Mixed martial a-holes. MMA-Holes, 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 MMA-Holes. You like to be a mixed martial a-hole. MMA-Holes, 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 MMA-Holes.
No way.
From the Queen Studios of New York. Yeah! Pound for pound talk once again. You love it. You want it. We're going to talk about the list. Cowboy Cerrone versus Justin Gaethje. Firefight. MMA news. 9/11. 18 years. Let's talk about it with the MMA. Yeah.
Wonderful.
All right. A lot of things to talk about. Season 3, episode 36. We are here. How are you, Jesse?
I'm wonderful, Moss. Thanks for
Wonderful,
asking.
wonderful.
How are you?
I am wonderful.
Wonderful.
That's right. We have an electric show tonight.
Electric.
Yes. Boogie Woogie Woogie. I was doing my intro, right? I was doing the intro, and it was out of frame. I was just playing around with it. I was like, what's going on here? So there you go. If you saw it moving around, let me know what the one. I was trying to get it going at the right time. Who cares? Anyway, we have a craziness over here. Well, not really. The pound for pound, there's a couple of people that moved around on the list. And, I mean, I'm not going to go crazy about it, but there's something interesting on Reddit. They're going nuts, saying that they are not actually journalists or anyone that has to do with MMA
Right.
that's voting for this list.
Yes.
So as soon as I heard that, I was like, well, how do I get on this? How do I vote? I want in. Because I hear journalists.
You want to be on the panel.
Well, it's not even just journalists. It's MMA media that they
Yes.
put on this thing. I think it's 14 people that they put on this pound for pound. You know, they get to vote, and whoever it comes down to, that's where the list is. And MMA media doesn't want this responsibility, so it just goes to the next person, and you got Joe Schmo doing it.
Right.
And apparently 5 people that are on this thing, or 4 people. How many did they say?
5, I think. I think it's 5.
They have nothing to do with MMA.
Yeah.
So it makes sense on how some of these fighters are higher and some are lower and some
Yes.
are non-existent on these pound for pound lists. I don't think we can really get too wrapped up with the pound for pound thing. And the reason why we bring it up all the time is because the fans they're riled up. They love it. Anytime a champion holds on to the belt for a little while or is dominant in a weight class or 2 weight classes or 3 weight classes or whatever, people want to talk about who is the pound for pound great. It just seems like that is the topic.
Right.
So if it's hot, we talk about it here. I don't think you can really hang your hat on being the pound for pound, because 1 minute one person is and the next minute another person is.
Right.
So with this whole situation, I say who cares? But people give a shit. And right now, John Jones is the number 1. I'm not going to go on my whole spiel why I think this is right or wrong. I do think it's right. I think he should be number 1, but I'm not going to go on, and we did a whole show full of that. But with this ranking system, Jesse,
Yes.
are you bothered by it? Are you bothered that people that don't even...
I am.
Okay.
You don't even have to finish your question. I am bothered by it, and I'll tell you why. For the same reason that you're bothered by it and that Reddit users are bothered by it, these are people who are voting for a pound-for-pound fighter who practically know nothing about these fighters, nothing about the sport, or even how to tell the difference between a greatest of all time type of fighter and an Amy Can that just kind of like walks in to the UFC. So to me, it's a little insulting to the sport. Like, if you're going to have a panel of people put together this ranking list, have at it, but make sure they're people who know what the fuck they're talking about. Make sure they're people who know what there is to know about the sport, what they need to know, and what they need to know about the fighters. Now, I understand that the rankings, a lot of people are saying like, oh, who cares about the rankings because the UFC doesn't really follow the rankings anymore. But, God bless you, I think that after what you had told me earlier, Moss, the UFC still needs the rankings to even have some sort of foundation, some sort of idea as to who should fight each other, who belongs on top, who should be a top 10 contender, and things like that. So it is necessary to a certain extent. Regardless of whether the UFC follows the rankings or not, it is necessary. But I think that the people on the panel should be people that know what they're talking about, not just some random journalist who thinks that they can throw together some list for fans of the UFC, because that's how you get into a lot of trouble, and it puts a bad mark on the UFC altogether.
Well, yeah, you do need a ranking system. I mean, not like the UFC follows it too much, but you do need something to be there so we can talk about and see who deserves a title shot, who doesn't, and how they match up fights. So you do need something in place. I see people in the chat talking about journalists, and it isn't journalists. Media. That's what they said. I've been doing some research on this. It's about MMA media.
Yes.
So you don't even have to be a journalist. Journalism is so weird now. Usually if you're a journalist, this is how I think of a journalist. And I am not. I am not a journalist because look what we do. We cover sports and we don't write about it. You know, we're not writing articles about it. We are just giving our opinions and delivering whatever news we hear.
If you're going by Luke Thomas's logic, a journalist is like a whole other thing. Like,
fuck Luke Thomas.
It's not just people who just talk about the sport. Because if that was the case, then anybody could be a journalist of
the word
MMA.
journalist is garbage now. It really doesn't mean anything because you have, you should be called a writer, right? An MMA, a writer or a blogger or whatever. Yeah. Not a journalist anymore because now people are lumping up media with journalism.
Yeah, I think there's a certain credibility that separates journalism from media. And I think that it's gotten so far now that people they don't take that credibility anymore. It's just, if I cover the sport, I'm automatically a journalist.
Yeah, I think it's just media. That's what it is. I mean, and now it's so wide. If you have a popular social media platform, boom, you're in media. You can actually show, hey, I have X amount of followers or subscribers, and now give me a media pass, a press pass.
Yeah.
And you can get it. Any knucklehead can go in there to these, especially these smaller events. Now, UFC is a little bit more particular on who they bring in. Like, you have to be like the schmo. But usually you have to work for a reputable company to get in there, or know someone, or, you know, that's how you get in with the UFC.
Right.
Now, when it comes to Bellator or any of these smaller promotions, PFL, you show up, you send an email, and you say, hey, listen, this is my background, this is how many followers I have. Boom, the press pass, when you show up, it's yours. That's how it works. Anyone.
Yes.
So if anyone in the chat wants to visit, go to an MMA event for free, that's how you do it. You basically like, well, look, I have all these followers. I want to cover the sport. Here's your pass. You're sitting cage side.
That's pretty much how it works, yeah.
It's super simple. So anyone could be part of the media. So if anyone could be part of the media, that means anyone can be voting for this pound for pound list over here. And here it is. John Jones, number 1. Khabib, number 2. Henry Cejudo, Trey. Stipe. Number 4, 5, Amanda Nunes. Daniel Cormier at 6. Max Holloway 7. Usman 8. So what happened over here is Cormier moves up 1. Holloway moves down. So Cormier 6. Holloway 7. I guess I don't know. I guess that happens. I have no clue. I think Cormier should be higher on the list, so that does make sense. Kamaru Usman moves up. El Kakui moves up to 9. Robert Whittaker moves up to 1. So you see all these arrows up. Who moved down?
Dustin Poirier.
Wait, Conor McGregor moved up 2 spots.
Yeah.
Valentina Shevchenko stays the same. I mean, if this is an active pound for pound list, you got to put Valentina over Conor. You got to put Valentina. Fuck, man. I might even put her over Bobby Knuckles or Tony Ferguson.
I wouldn't put her over Tony, but I would put her over Whittaker and Conor for sure.
Okay. So I saw someone in the chat say something about women on the pound for pound list, and one person, I think they were. No, it was someone before the show started. I think it was Boss Koger or who gives a shit. Someone, credit to whoever said it. And I agree with them. I dropped it in the chat that I agree. I think that the women on the pound for pound list should have their own. I really do agree with.
A separate women's list?
Yes. Now, I know there's not as many women fighters as men fighters, but in time we will get some more women fighters on there. Get them off this list. Because if you think about it, Amanda Nunes should be like, she should be super high on this list. You know, she is number 5.
But pound for pound
She'd
rankings,
be number 1 on the women.
So here's why that wouldn't work. Pound for pound rankings is about the greatest fighter of all divisions, including women's divisions.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the overall greatest fighter. It's the one who has the greatest record, who's fought champions, who has the best defenses, the best fight game. Like, all of those things are taken into account. So it's a general list for all fighters in the UFC. Now, if you were to do like, the women's lightweight or women's, bantamweight division or some shit like that, that's completely different because that is a separate list. But pound for pound is supposed to be for all fighters in the organization.
See, and this is why I disagree. There are some times on this list that fighters have fought each other, and that is the difference between one person getting an advantage over the other person.
On a pound for pound list?
Yes. Yeah, that has been. Like John Jones and Daniel Cormier. Daniel Cormier was a double champ. Daniel Cormier had that long-ass winning streak.
But I also think that their position on their separate division list contributes to where they are on the pound for pound rankings.
Now they're crossing over. Now these fighters are crossing over. So if you think about it, these men have the ability to defeat another person that's on that list and move themselves ahead of that person. Women don't have that opportunity. So why not just have a fucking female pound for pound?
No, I mean, it's listen, I guess anything could work here. I just feel that the having one list, and plus it makes things easier. Why do you want to complicate things, creating another list?
Amanda Nunes, if she was on a female pound for pound list, she would be so far on that number 1 spot that she'd be untouchable. She'd be so untouchable at that number 1 spot. Now she's sitting at 5. I don't think it's fair. And honestly, it just jumbles shit up over here. Have the men's, have the women's. Let us debate both of them, which I don't even know why we're fucking debating it because it's kind of stupid. But yeah, I don't know. Let's see what the chat says about this.
Clayton says Max at 7. Okay, what a stupid list. I'm a Rob fan, as you both know from the other podcasts I've commented on, but he shouldn't be that high up either. Max should be higher than 7 though.
Okay.
Zoltan Bose, Jones number 1 pound for pound at drugs. T-Bird says Khabib has been way more dominant than John Jones. The past 2 or 3 years, I guess John could be number 1 though. Pro Tool says, hi JBH, hi Pro Tool, Chrome to your dome. John Wick is going to kill everyone on that list. Brennan Weir says, pretty sure the best female fighter would get destroyed by the best male fighter of the same weight class. There should be separate pound for pound fighters. Now, I do agree with that. I agree that the best male fighter, of course, would dominate the best female fighter. That is something that I agree with. And I'm not
What do you mean
opposed-
dominate? What are you talking, in a fight?
In a fight.
Oh, what?
If it was, well, listen, that's what it says. But here's the thing.
Yeah.
I'm not opposed to a separate women's list. I'm not opposed to that. Like, if they create a separate pound for pound list for women, that's fine. I just feel it complicates things a little bit more, because now you have 2 different lists to worry about.
What is it? It's actually making it easier.
But now you have a top 10 pound for pound for women now, and there's some women that would be on that women's list that were never on this pound for pound list at all.
Because
now you're
here's
putting
the thing.
people.
Men and women have, listen, they're not, they can't compete against each other. It's impossible.
Of
right?
course,
So
yes.
why are they on the same list? I understand it's pound for pound.
I agree.
But if you put, here's the thing, pound for pound means like the best 125er, the best 135er, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you the best 145er, you put the best 145er at men against the best 145er at women. Who the hell's going to win that fight?
Of course, the best 145er at men.
It's
But-
silly.
Okay, no, and I agree with you 100%.
Pound for pound.
In no way am I saying you're wrong, and I am not opposed to a women's list. I'll say it again.
Separate them. Put them on the back of the bus.
Put them on the back of the bus, whatever you want to call it. I'm not opposed to it. My point is there are less women on this pound for pound list than men, right? Let me just break it down for you. There's less women than men on this pound for pound list, correct? Yes? Here. Eyes here. All right.
Yeah, I'm listening.
All right. So what I'm saying is if they create a women's list, then they're going to have to add more women fighters to that list in order to make
it a
up
top
for
10.
the empty spaces.
Yeah. Make it a top
So
10.
now women who don't even belong in the pound for pound rankings at all are just going to get a spot because they have to fill spaces on the women's list.
As this sport gets further, you mean to tell me you can't put 10, you can't figure out 10 women
I
that
can
could
think
be on
of
a pound
maybe
for pound
3
list?
or 4, but
Yeah.
I can't think of 10 fighters who belong on
super easy
a
to put
pound
together.
for pound list.
A 10 person pound for pound list. It's super easy.
For
And
women.
and as the sport grows even more and more, it's going to be easier and easier. It's going to be more difficult to figure out, okay, which one deserves to be in what spot. But
See, you just said it. Which one deserves to be in the best spot? If there are less women on this one right now, right?
yeah.
You don't have to get.
I mean, I severely disagree. But
Okay,
again,
fine. If there are less women on this list right now, and there are spaces to fill, if you separate them and create a women's list, then female fighters who were never on this list before are all of a sudden just getting this magic spot, whether they deserve it or not, just because it needs to be filled.
Jesse, pound for pound means basically who is the best fighter
Pound for pound.
pound for pound. It's
Exactly.
right.
Yes.
So now if you are putting a 145er against a heavyweight, you know the 145er is not going to win, but you look at the resume of work and you say, well, that person's a better fighter. Now, if you put a 145er at men and then against a 145er at women,
I'm not
that's
talking
the
about
pounds.
intergender, though.
But it's pound for pound.
I understand.
It's not pound for gender. You understand what I'm saying? It's pound for pound.
No, I'm well aware it's not pound for.
So that's what I'm
gender.
saying.
I'm saying there are women fighters who don't belong in the pound for pound list at all, who will automatically go there because they have spots to fill, and that is where it gets complicated.
You don't think that happens with the men?
No, because you have enough fighters
Okay,
on
why-
a regular,
I'm gonna-
pound for pound list.
I'm gonna
where
go over
there's
here.
Multiple women and men.
Okay,
15 fighters.
here we go. Let's look over here.
You can
So,
easily choose from
right now,
any division, men's
Tony
or
Ferguson,
women's.
right? Tony Ferguson and Dustin Poirier, who are beasts, right? They're very good at what they do. Tony's better, but both were interim champions, right? Okay, on this list over here. You don't need to have them there. I mean, you could have them super low if you had a top 10 list. You know, you could have them super low. There are people on here where you can argue, why are they even on this list? Conor McGregor.
Can I ask you a question?
You can say, why is Conor on the list?
Okay, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Can you count how many women are on the pound for pound list for me?
There's 2.
2.
Okay.
So you're gonna have to fill 13 spots.
You want me to do it right now? You want me to go over to the women's? I'll do it right now.
Wait a minute. With female fighters who clearly didn't even deserve to be on this list, and now you're just going to throw them on a different list because
I'm
you need to
making
fill some
things
spots.
easier for
No,
the
it
women.
makes it more complicated because they don't belong there. They didn't deserve the pound for pound ranking, and now all of a sudden they get a pound for pound ranking because there's 13 spots in.
Look what Zen Rhino says. This is exactly the point I'm trying to make here. Read what he
Pound for
said.
pound is a way to compare the lighter weights with the heavier weights. It's not a best of list.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Exactly. It's a pound for pound list. We're talking pound for pound.
I agree with you.
We're not talking
You're
gender
missing
versus
what I'm
gender.
saying. You're debating me like I disagree with you. I don't disagree with you.
Okay. I'm just gonna say something here. Wang Lei Ji, Zhang Wei Li, Wangling. I don't know which direction you put it in there, but Zhang, who just won the strawweight belt. Jessica Andrade, Rose Namajunas.
You would put Jessica Andrade on there.
No, I'm just saying. Yeah, I could put Jessica. She was a champion. Okay. Now, let's see. Joanna Jędrzejczyk, that's 4. Okay. You could even drop Claudia over there. She was a contender. At
I would
5.
not drop Claudia on that list.
Listen, it's women. They suck. Okay.
Exactly, and you're trying to fill 13
Valentina
spots with women who
Shevchenko.
suck.
Valentina Shevchenko. Right? You can put her on that list?
Sure.
Okay. Now Cyborg's gone, so she's gone. What about Durandamy? You could put Durandamy on that list, right? She's fighting. No, you can't put her on the list?
I don't know if I would put Durandamy on the list.
Why not? She won the belt.
I don't think she deserves a pound for pound
So
ranking.
if you win a belt, no good, right?
No, that's not my point, Moss. I don't think she deserves a pound for pound ranking. Let's go through the rest of this list.
So what about this?
See, there's just not... Look at this
What
list.
about this then? Why not have, since the women weight classes are small, why not have a top 5 pound for pound?
Can
Why'd you do that?
Can you all take a look at this list real quick?
Why not have a fucking top 5? Yeah, there needs
Even
to be
if
more
you
women.
did put Jermaine Durandamy on that list, Moss, there is nobody else on here that should be on a pound for pound ranking that haven't deserved
Hear me
it.
out. Hear me out. I am trying to solve the problem with pound for pound. That's what I'm trying to do. I'm not trying to create a problem. I'm trying to solve it. And by solving the problem, you take the women off there because Amanda Nunes deserves to be number 1.
I agree
She
with
is
you.
so fucking dominant.
I
Okay?
agree.
She deserves to be number 1. You put her on her own pound for pound. You put a top 5 of women. Okay? If there's not enough women there, all right, I'll solve that problem for you. Make it a top 5 pound for pound list and see what girls can get on there until they grow the sport more for the ladies. They shouldn't be on the men's list. They have WNBA and then they have the NBA. You know, I mean, don't fucking.
All right, Dave Chappelle.
No, but I'm saying it's apples and oranges. There are people that fast forward the women's fights that don't even pay attention to that shit. Why are they on the guy's list? I'm not trying to be sexist in any way.
I disagree with.
I'm trying to be fair for the ladies.
I don't like the women's fights. Like this, you're acting like you're like
can't believe we're having this
arguing this. Like I disagree with you, and I don't.
You're trying to enable the problem. I'm trying to fix this.
In no way am I trying to enable the problem.
Jordan Live.
I love when y'all debate. Salute to y'all.
Salute to y'all.
I'm not even debating. I agree with the man. Like, that's what he's not getting. I agree with him. I think that women should have their own list. All I was saying, and Moss found a solution to this, all I was saying was if it was going to be a 15-person pound-for-pound list, we just don't have enough fighters women fighters who deserve to be there.
Okay, so you're saying that the 5-person list fixes that problem.
Fine.
So now you want it.
If you make another... I told you I wasn't against the women's list. I said that was fine. You guys heard me say that a million fucking times throughout this entire thing. I'm not disagreeing with you. Why
I didn't hear that. I'm sorry. I didn't...
No, because you only hear what you want to hear. I am telling you, I am not opposed to a women's list, but don't make it 15 people because there's not enough female fighters who deserve to be on a pound-for-pound list.
I clearly missed. Maybe that's why.
100%.
Easy.
Because I said it like 5 times.
Easy. Apparently, I missed that. Now let me know if you missed that too, because I heard that you did not. You wanted to. I
honestly don't know how you missed it because I said it a million times. You can make all the faces you want.
I think I'm losing my mind. I feel like there's a conspiracy over here.
You are losing your mind.
Anyway, all right. So what do you think of the solution for the pound-for-pound list is? Because that just flew like...
You drive me insane.
It flew over my head, like miles over my head. Go ahead.
Someone interpret this conversation with Khabib time.
Where's Khabib?
Wonderful.
All UFC lists are arbitrary. It's a popularity contest because they're voted on by journalists. Pound for pound and GOAT are bullshit lists.
They are.
King K says you need to rank 15 women in a top 15 ranking system, and this is what I was saying. If you were to do that, right? If you were to rank 15 women for a top ranking system, it would be difficult to do. We don't have enough female fighters yet. Female fights are far worse than males. And a lot more times than not. Now, there are some female fights that are great, but I would have to agree with Moss in saying that I skip past the female fights. I don't care. I don't want to see them fight. I would much rather see a male fight. I think they're much more entertaining and they bring a lot more value. But if you were to do the 15, like you were saying, King K, it would be difficult to do.
All right, so
There's
here we go.
a lot of female
Ryan
fighters
Pace
who don't belong on that list.
Well, Ryan Pace just made one for you. Check it out.
Shevchenko, Nunez, Zhang, Rose, Tatiana, JJ, Andrade, GDR, Holly Holm. There's Holly Holm, Watterson. Easy, you can find 10. All right, but where's the other 5? What other 5?
No, we said a top 10 list.
No, I'm talking to King K when he brought up the 15. If you were to do 15, where would the other 5 go?
So we could have avoided that whole conversation if we just said make the list shorter.
Yeah, if you made the list shorter, but
why didn't you just say that then? Why don't you say make the list shorter instead of that whole back and forth?
I thought I was making my point pretty clear. I mean, you have to be
I will be watching this back. All right,
not to think that that's not the point I was making.
I guess I'm stupid then. I apologize for my stupidity.
That was a pretty stupid way to...
Wow, now you're name calling. That's terrible things. On 9/11, Jesse, name calling, that's terrible.
Really? You're going to use
Anyway,
that?
here's the deal. I don't know how it got into this conversation over here. So now I guess we agree. To make it a little bit easier for the pound for pound, you take the ladies, you give them their own list.
And make it shorter.
Make it, yeah. Who cares about the size? Just give them their own list. I don't even give a shit about their size. Just whatever. 5, you got 2 people on the list. I don't give a shit, right? But definitely have to remove them from that. This way, Amanda Nunes gets the respect that she deserves. She should be a number 1 on a pound for pound list. Now, when it comes to pound for pound, it's kind of stupid. Like that conversation that just happened over there, stupid conversation. Well, this is a stupid list. The pound for pound list is pretty dumb. It's just something that we have to talk about over here because the people love it. The people get locked up and engulfed in who is the GOAT. The GOAT, the GOAT. Everyone wants to know who the GOAT is. Well, according to MMA journalists, quotations, John Jones is on top. So now I guess you could debate that in the chat for yourselves. You know who I think should be the pound for pound GOAT. You know who Jesse thinks. Let me know what you think about this list and your opinions.
Both genders should have top 5, Fook the rest. I agree. T-Bird says GOAT is not the same as pound for pound. LOL. Artem, make the MMA-Holes list. Pound for pound is dumber than BMF belt. Amanda is the pound for pound king and queen in my opinion. MMA-Holes for life. There are plenty of great women fighters I like to watch better than many guys. I'm glad someone does.
Well, you know what? There's an audience for it. Some people like the ladies. So
I
I
can't
like
stand watching them.
when Cyborg was in the UFC.
Cyborg is an exception. Shevchenko is an exception. Amanda Nunes is an exception. But all the rest of them, I could give a fuck.
What about Jessica Andrade?
Nah,
You don't care?
Don't care.
I mean,
I'd watch Joanna.
Yeah, Joanna's good too.
Yeah, I'd watch Joanna.
Watching you 183 Diaz Silva. Love you all daily 5.
There you go. Watching UFC 183 Diaz versus Silva. Love y'all. Thank you. Trevor Poole, you are.
Wonderful.
Appreciate that donation, my friend. Thank you. All right, so let's get into this first article of the evening. And I do want to say this is 9/11. And, to the people that lost family members or friends or whatever, it is 18 years ago this happened. And you can't ignore it. You can't ignore it, especially me being from New York and seeing it. You can't. Donation.
You can't stop the Siberian Express. Choo-choo, motherfuckers.
We got True Grit coming in with the deuce.
Women fighters should be ranked by how well they make a sandwich. I kid. All women should learn how to fight to defend themselves, but it's not interesting to watch in an octagon. It would be more interesting if they had to fight a convicted rapist instead.
Oof. Yeesh. Thank you, True Grit. Appreciate that.
Wonderful.
I think. Anyway, I see in the chat someone says about Shevchenko being boring. I concur. I am so not on the Shevchenko train. She just doesn't do it for me. Some people love her. I can't watch a fight of her. She drives me nuts. She's very, very good, but it's a rough watch for me. So 9/11 is today. 18 years ago it happened. I told this story a couple of shows back, but it is the day, and I'll give a brief story of how I went through it. I want to know in the chat how you went through it, and then we're going to get back into the news. I just want to pay my respects here. Basically, on that day I was working. I was passing a bunch of bridges over there. I saw everyone pointing in a direction and oohing and eyeing about some craziness that was going on. Had no idea what was happening. Well, by the time I got to my route, someone pulls up next to me and says, "Hey, look over there," like honking the horn. Look over there. And I was like, what is this guy doing? And I look up, and boom, there it is. One tower up, the other one gone, smoke coming out. And it was a sight that you would never forget. The one thing I love about 9/11, and that sounds weird, right? What do you love about 9/11? The fact that once it happened and something so terrible happened, everyone came together all over the world, no matter what your political views were or whatever. Black, white, brown, yellow, green, whatever your color skin was, everyone was on the same page in peace. Besides the fucking terrorists, because they're assholes. But everyone else was on the same page, and we got to see unity for once. And every time this day comes around, yes, I get a little sad. I do. A little tear in my eye. Get upset about this because it's a fucked up situation. But the fact that everyone got together after that happened and united, that's something I'll take to my grave and always remember. So when they say never forget, I think that's how you should think about it. Remember the people that have fallen that day, and remember how we were all together. And it gives me chills. Even to this day, it gives me chills. What is your thoughts on 9/11?
I mean, I wasn't really old. I only remember glimpses. I wasn't really old enough to remember much. I was 5 years old. But I am very well versed on everything that happened. I don't have thoughts on it. I mean, I have condolences for the families and stuff like that, but
I do have to say this because I see assholes in the chat, and we have a troll community, so it is what it is. But my biggest problem with certain people is the fact that they use disasters to push political views. And guys, gals, please, for yourself, for humanity, if you want to be a good person, if you have a good heart inside somewhere there, don't push your political opinion. If there's a shooting, if there is a terrorist attack or whatever the situation is, if you believe in conspiracies or all that stuff, save it for another day. Not on the day where a disaster happened. Let the people who passed on, the people who fell that day, give them their respect and stop being so fucking selfish. Now I'm going to move on. Let's get a little jolly up in here, Jesse. Right? Let's
I have to pee first.
Let's lighten the mood. Okay, you're stuck with me. Jesse's going to pee, and then we're going to get into the news. But seriously, guys and gals, please. I mean, you got to stop it. This is why social media is so... It's such a mess. It's such a mess. There are people out there pushing their conspiracy theories and all that stuff on a day where a bunch of people died. Do it on other days. Do it on another day. And a lot of people are saying, well, it's 9/11. What better way to push my opinion about Tower 7 and yada, yada, yada. No. That's not how it works. If people aren't listening to you on other days and you feel to use today so people could listen to you, they're not listening to you not because of your opinion, but because you're an asshole. That's why. Hate to break it to you. The reason why people aren't listening to you on any other day about your fucking beliefs is because you're a moron. Keep it to yourself then. Or say it in a way where it's respectful. Conspiracies and all this other stuff, everyone has a right to their opinion. And I'm fine with that. Freedom of speech, I'm good with that. I have my opinion, people disagree. Right? You have your opinion, people disagree. But on a day like this, on a disaster, I don't care how those towers fell. People died. Fucking crazy, man. It really is. It makes me sick to my stomach. I hate to bring the show down because of this. But going on social media, my personal Facebook, I don't go on anymore. I don't go on that because I am sickened by what people are writing on there. They use shootings to push their opinions on guns. Kids die. Like, what the fuck? Is this the world we live in? It's insane. Let's stick together, man. We could troll, we could have fun, we could be sarcastic, we could do all this stuff. But let's stick together. On a day like today, let's stop being a dickhead. All right. Jesse, welcome back.
Wonderful, wonderful.
Kisses to the chat. All right, let's get into the news. Let's start this thing off. Jesse, ready? Where's your song? Oh, there it is. We're going to move on over to the MMA-Holes.com. I'm going to lighten it up. No more 9/11 talk, for God's sakes. Oh, look at that face, Jesse.
Wonderful, wonderful.
It's Dana White. Okay, what do we got over here?
According to BJPen.com, Reddit user has exposed the UFC ranking system. They dug deep into the UFC rankings and exposed a flawed system that features a number of panelists who do not actually even cover MMA. Reddit user Kniko28 posted an in-depth rundown of all 14 panelists on the UFC rankings panel. What he found was that a third of the panelists are not even active MMA media members. Remember, these are the same people who contribute to the rankings, which have an inexorable impact on fighter promotion, matchmaking salaries, and Reebok pay. The Reddit post that he made was, quote, looking at them one by one, in my opinion, 5 of the 14 cannot be considered to be in MMA media at all at this junction.
You can't stop the Siberian Express. Choo-choo, motherfuckers.
T-Man, holy smokes.
True fact, I didn't know for the longest time until I turned 9 what 9/11 was. But I am proud of everyone that banded together that helped the community. God bless the USA.
Wow.
Of course, I really had to join in and say that.
Well, thank you, T-Man. Everyone go subscribe.
Well, T-Man was very young, too, when
go
when
subscribe.
9/11 happened.
Subscribe to T-Man. Subscribe to him. He's a great guy. He does music on the internet. He's one of our featured channels. He is wonderful, wonderful.
Wonderful, wonderful.
Thank you, T-Man. God bless T-Man. Whatever God you believe in. Or if you don't believe in God, just bless him.
He was like 6 years old when it happened. So it doesn't surprise me that he didn't know till he was 9.
Yeah. Some people didn't get to, be around for it. But, there's enough videos where you can catch up. All right. So back to Dana White over here.
So the Reddit user...
The rankings.
The Reddit user posted, quote, looking at them one by one, in my opinion, 5 of 14 cannot be considered to be in MMA media at all at this junction. I tried to use the broadest possible definition, and still over a third of the people ranking the fighters are not, in 2019, in MMA media. When you pair that with the fact that their impact is already out of whack of what the UFC suggested it would be, each is 1 of 14 rather than a 1 of 90, this is just insanity. One of the best examples of the UFC ranking system being broken is by looking at voter Romain Cadet, one of the voters.
Who the fuck is that guy?
He's one of the panelists.
Oh.
The Reddit user found this, quote, Romain Cadet, per LinkedIn, is apparently the editor-in-chief of VladuSport.fr. Here's the thing. VladuSport doesn't exist. If you go there, it's just some online shopping thing squatting in the space. According to their Facebook page, they haven't existed in over 4 years. The newest post there is from April 2015, which asks for a bit of patience before the return of the site. They similarly have a YouTube channel that hasn't released a video since the 2015 teaser of the site's return. The website's Twitter hasn't tweeted since 2013, and the tweets that are there link to articles that are no longer on the web. Again, 14 people yield this power of fighters' careers. This is one of them. The website hasn't existed in almost 5 years.
So basically, what's going on is, like we said earlier,
Yeah.
is that there are MMA media, MMA journalists out there that are just turning it down. They don't want the, they don't want to be in charge of this pound for pound list.
Right.
So they're just giving it to any schlep. And this one, this guy's a nobody. He's a complete nobody.
Yeah. The user looked into all the panelists closely. Of the 14 panelists, the ones who are active MMA media members are Brian Heminger, Andreas Hale, Steve Jeffrey, Bruno Masami, Jeff Kane, Rob DeMello, Steve Wan, Ken Pishna, and Ariel Schneerer.
It is wild. Not one, I don't know any of those fucking people.
Well, they're just
nobodies.
They're just random panelists. The ranking panelists who are not active MMA media members are David Brown, Romaine Cadett, Grant Gordon, and Christopher Esping. Eddie Papani is on the bubble between the two. It seems utterly preposterous the UFC fighters and the money they are making are directly linked to the whims and opinions of just 14 people, only 9 of whom can actually call themselves active media members. The UFC regularly justifies their fight bookings by where their fighters sit in the rankings, and now we know that not every ranker is actually even closely affiliated with the sport. The UFC ranking system has been exposed, and at this point, fans, active media members, and the fighters want answers as to why this has happened.
It's funny, King K says that's the guy that voted for Amanda. So the guy that you were talking about before.
Wonderful.
Was the guy that actually put Amanda on the list. I don't know. Okay. I'm not surprised. I don't think people want this responsibility, right? You said if I asked Jesse, I'm like, listen, this channel is very big. It's a very huge. We're a big part of the MMA scene over here, right? We are very influential, and I have to think that us voting who's the pound for pound GOAT, that would make sense. I would take it in a second. I would say, yeah, I'll do it. I'll fuck it. I'll fuck that list up. Put me there. I asked Jessie, and she said no. She said she didn't want it.
I didn't say no. I asked why. I didn't say no. I said, why would you want to do that? That's what I said.
You did say no, but
Nope.
all right. So
Nope.
now you're. Okay.
I never said no. When you asked me, I said, why would you want to do that?
No,
And
I
then-
asked you first before I even gave you my opinion.
I know. And I said, why? I asked you why, and then you told me why, and I said, I don't know why you would want to do that.
Okay.
But I did not say no.
So wait, you said no. Well, okay. All right. So this is I'm fucking batting 1,000 tonight. Apparently, she's from Mars. I can't understand what she's saying. I'm from Mars.
you
So
never
all right.
listen to
So you didn't
anything
say
I
that.
say.
So okay. So you're saying you would do it.
I said that, or I was basically implying that it would depend on the circumstances for me. I don't know. I don't
Jesse,
know. I
okay.
don't know what I would say.
Ring ring. Hello. Ring ring. Ring 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 ring. You gotta pick up your phone.
No.
Ring 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 ring. Just pick up your phone for
No.
a second, please. No, I want to just pick up the phone.
No.
This is going to be a question that I'm going to ask you. It's
Yeah, you're
part of
being a
my
smart
bit.
ass.
No, I'm not being just pick up the fucking phone. Ring, 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 ring. Ring, ring. Just pick it. Ring, ring. Hello? Someone's picked up. Are you there? Miss Hill? Is this you?
No, you have the wrong number. Sorry.
Miss Hill, this is so-and-so from the people that ask people to be on the pound for pound ranking voting list, whatever the hell we're called. I'm not quite sure. But anyway, we want to know, can you... Anyway.
Sorry, I hung up on you.
Oh my God. You can't even have a good bit with this girl. My question is, if they called you right fucking now, would you say yes or no?
I would say I have to think about your offer, and I'll get back to you.
Oh, it's like, what do you want for dinner? I don't know. What do you want for dinner?
Mom,
I don't know.
Just because you don't like my answer, it doesn't mean I have to change it.
So that's a no to me.
That's I will ponder your offer and get back to you.
Okay, here's the deal. You need to let me know now, or I'm going to the next journalist or a MMA media person.
I'll let you know within the next 5 minutes.
So that's immediately a no.
No.
It's a no.
No.
Next 5 minutes?
See, I made that bit funny. You're over here freaking out because you didn't
Oh my
like my
God.
answer.
The comedic timing of me and Jesse is just spot on. All right, so in 5 minutes, what we got? 9:46. At 9:40, actually, let me put a timer over here so we could finally ask Jesse. Let's do this. I'm gonna add. Okay, we could do window capture. Okay, hold on. This is gonna be good. The fuck? Oh my God! There it is. Okay, we're gonna put 5 minutes on the clock. In 5 minutes, we will find out. Okay, if Jesse, where should we put this clock? We're gonna put it over Jesse's head. Okay. If Jessie will, she said in 5 minutes, we'll find out if she's going to take the job as the person who's going to come up with the pound for pound ranking list. Okay. Now, I want to know in the chat with a 1 or a yes or a no. Let's just do this. Yes, would you take that job to put together that pound for pound list, to vote for the pound for pound list? Or no, you wouldn't. I'm actually curious what the chat says, and maybe we'll make this a community post too. I'm really curious what the answer would be. Okay.
I thought you were a Nigerian scammer. That's why I hung up on you.
Are you using chat jokes? Because she would have never came up with that. All right, here we go. Thank you for your comments. Would you take that job? Would you be in charge of the pound for pound list? Yes or no? Jesse, what are they saying?
Kincaid, yes. Scott Iwood, NH, yes. Dawson the Plane says no. BK Rhoda, yes. Prison Mike, yes. Kincaid, 100,000 or 1 million, yes. Percent yes. Just took some vapes. Love that. You guys are alive, says Richard. Yes. No. Rest in peace, MMA fighting. No. I can hardly keep track of Jesse's menstruation. Yes. Perhaps. Yes. I'm competent. Fook pound for pound. That's for the fans to decide. I would fook that list up. JBH had caller ID. Yes.
You know, there's a lot of yeses. I'm actually surprised. Maybe we'll make this a community post because I'm actually interested to know. It is a fairly big job here to be responsible for that, right? Super chat. Ben Shekel.
I would, because Tony would be number 2.
There you go. Yeah. So Tony would be number 2. That's what Ben would say over there on the pound for pound list. I mean, I would most likely take it. I
wonder if maybe they have some people who are not as well versed in the fighters themselves in an effort to avoid a biased list. Because if you think about it, if all the people on the panel were MMA fans, everybody has a favorite fighter, everybody has someone they root for, and maybe the UFC fears that would get in the way of a biased pound for pound list.
Well, everyone's biased. That's what we've learned over here.
But if you're not as well versed in the fighter, or like if you don't have a favorite fighter or well versed in the sport, it becomes a little bit easier for you to choose who should be on that list.
Well, the reason why I'm saying everyone's biased is that's why they have multiple people on this panel of journalists that vote on this. You got to vote on this. Everyone puts in their slips, and boom, the highest number gets the highest ranking over there. So that's how that works. If it was just one person, one fan, then it would be extremely biased. But you have different people from all over the place voting for this, and yeah, maybe they're not credible, but how are you going to find a credible person? No one is credible. No one. If you pick me, if you pick you, if you pick Gary Banjo Sandwich in the chat, I mean, you don't know. You don't know who's going to be honest. There's going to come weeks where you're going to be like, I want this person higher than that person. Right? We have 1 minute and 55 seconds left to find out if Jesse will take the job of being in charge of, or being one of the people voting on this list. And you know Khabib time would be number 1, so maybe Jesse should take it.
Oh, it's Gary's birthday today.
Oh, there we go. We will sing for Jesse. Wasn't Gary's birthday didn't he say it was his birthday a couple weeks ago?
No.
A
couple weeks ago he said it was going to be his birthday.
It was going to be his birthday. Oh, I thought he said
today's his birthday.
I'm like, I was celebrating like it was his birthday the other time. Now it's like you got 2 birthdays. All right, we'll sing you a song after this. 50 likes. I've got 50 likes.
You've got 50 likes. We've got 50 likes.
MMA-Holes 50 likes. I've got 50 likes. You've got 50 likes. We've got 50 likes. Go! MMA-Holes 50 likes. I've got 50 likes. You've got 50 likes. We've got 50 likes. MMA-Holes 50 likes.
The dislikes can choke on a dick.
3 dick jokers. By the way, 218 people with 56 likes. Completely unacceptable. Let's go. Spike that shite. All right, Jesse, go for it. Oops. Happy. Oh.
No, you can do the I'll sing.
Just sing it. Go ahead.
No, I'll sing.
No, let's not make this 10 minutes.
It's
Let's go.
funny, Moss. Don't ruin my bit. It's funny. You
got 35 seconds to sing it.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Gary. Happy birthday to you.
Wow.
Wonderful, wonderful.
All right. I couldn't sing. You know why, Jesse? I couldn't sing that song?
Why?
My foot was up a balloon.
It was too messed up.
I sing for anybody whose birthday it is. Every time someone says it's their birthday, I have to. Like, it's like a...
Well, now they're going to do like in TGI Fridays, everyone's going to say it's their birthday.
Well, then I won't believe them. But like...
How would you know?
Well, if I just said that and all of a sudden people are like, oh, it's my birthday.
Oh, Jesse, I got some great news. Okay, now 5 minutes are up. We have to find out Will you be taking the job?
Am I going to get the phone call or no?
Ring, ring, ring.
Hello.
Miss JBH?
Wrong number again, but go ahead. I'll leave a message.
I called you. How are you leaving a message?
Okay, it's JBH.
Okay. I have a proposal to make for you, or to you, excuse me. I called before and you said 5 minutes. I called back in 5 minutes. I need to know, will you be one of the people on the panel?
You know, I've really considered this offer that you've given me. And I've got to be honest with you. I think the people that you have on the panel right now really suck. And it would do MMA fans injustice for me not to take this opportunity.
Oh, super chat.
Okay, bye. All right, so Jesse will take it.
Tony will choke Khabib in the fourth, yes or no? Smiley face.
Choke, I'm going to go with no. Stab him with elbows and slice his face open, I'm going to go yes. I'm going to say that Tony will be the first fighter ever to make Khabib bleed. That's what I'm going to say. Now, I'm not saying he's going to win, but he's going to make him bleed. That's my prediction, Jesse. Do you think he'll choke out your boy?
What kind of question is that, Moss?
I didn't ask it. Donator did. Through glitz.
You need to filter out those who know the sport well and those that don't know. They have to be able to answer who is the GOAT before being able to give their rankings. Any answer other than Lobov means filthy casual and not deserving.
Yeah. How is Lobov not on this list? Right?
Oh, boy.
I mean, I don't even... It's that's how you know they got the wrong people. Lobov is not on this list.
Right.
He should be there, but it's a joke. Well, this is not GOAT, right? This is pound for pound.
Yeah.
But anyway, all right. So if you want to check it out for yourself, go to the UFC.com. We have some more news to get into, but before we get into news, I want to play a word from our sponsors. We have a lot of shit, so hang with the boys.
Just because you're not in Vegas doesn't mean you can't bet on MMA and UFC. BetDSI offers online wagering and has been paying winners for 20 years. Use the link in the description with promo code MMA-Hole, all one word, for up to 100% bonus bets as well as $25 as a welcome bonus today. BetDSI also offers betting options for everything, including NFL, NCAA football, NBA, NHL, UFC, and all the major sports, politics, TV, sports, virtually everything. We play there ourselves and recommend BetDSI if you want to add some excitement to the fights or any other sports you are watching. Once again, go to BetDSI with the link in the description below using promo code MMA-Hole, all one word, and get a limited time 100% bonus offer as well as $25 as welcome bonus. Make some extra cash on the sports you know and love. It's only a game until you bet it at BetDSI.
Get your bets in, friends. That's right. This weekend we got some fights going on. Cowboy versus Gaethje. Who the fuck do you have? Make some money. Ooh, I hear some music. This must mean that's for something else.
Timeless CBD sees a gap in the industry between quality and affordability. This is a CBD company that strives to make top-notch products at prices people can afford. All of Timeless CBD's products are carefully handmade at their facility. Each and every batch is third-party vet tested. Visit Timeless CBD with the link in the description and get your hands on only the best CBD products. Use promo code MMA-Hole, all one word, for up to 20% off of your entire order. You can get products such as full-spectrum oils, gummies, pain salves, freezes, BCAAs, and more. Once again, visit Timeless CBD with the link in the description and use promo code MMA-Hole, all one word, and get up to 20% off of your entire purchase.
That's right. Timeless CBD is wonderful, wonderful.
Wonderful, wonderful.
We'll also check out the Swole, the Sexy, Real Bearded Men, 15% off with the promo code MMA-Hole. Same promo code for all three if you want to fix that beard, because I'm looking at you right now and you could use a little help. You over there? Yeah, no, not right behind that guy. You can use some help, so just go fix your beard up, please.
Moss, I just want you to know, as I tell you every show, I love doing this with you.
Wonderful, wonderful.
Thank you. I love doing this with you, Jess.
Well, you don't have to say it just because I said it, Moss. It's fine. It's fine. I just wanted you to know.
Thank you. I appreciate that, Jesse. So Donald Cerrone is fighting Justin Gaethje, and right now Cerrone is a plus 179 on the DSI. So if you want to get your bets in, maybe it's the time to do it, right? Plus 179. I don't know. Jesse, I know you're a Gaethje gal.
Yes.
And I'm pretty sure that's where you're going to be going in this situation.
I'm not telling you till tomorrow.
Well, what do you think about this as a bet, Donald Cerrone?
I will just say this. I think that these are fair betting odds.
Okay. She's saying it's fair. I like it. I like it a lot. Donald Cerrone at plus 179. Gaethje's been doing very good. He's a badass. He can stand and bang. I just feel that Cowboy's going to get a foot up high somewhere in this fight and going to hurt Gaethje bad. So we'll see how this goes. Regardless of the outcome of this fight, I can't wait. This is going to be a good one. I haven't really had a chance to check out the actual fight card. So let's go take a dive into that. This is happening.
You want to take a dive, Moss?
Let's dive. Let's dive into it.
Oh, wait. No, Moss.
Let's dive into it.
That's not the right way to say it.
I don't need it. Let's dive into
Moss,
it.
You should say it like this.
Let's dive into it.
There you go. That's how you do it, Moss.
I liked my voice better with
Let's dive in. Oh, fuck you.
All right, Cowboy Cerrone versus Justin Gaethje. What do you think about this poster? Where's his eye?
That's not the poster. That's just I don't think that's the poster.
Ben Shekel.
I'll be back after the 4th round. Remember this. Love you guys. Keep up the good work. And Donald by rear naked.
All right.
Thank you, Ben. But more importantly, Ben just said,
I'll be back.
I just sounded like I was joking there for a minute. Hold on.
I'll be back.
Now, are you doing the Terminator or are you doing something when possessed? Who are you doing right there?
I thought I was trying to do the Terminator.
No, the Terminator.
But then it turned into like...
It's got to be
The Exorcist.
Like an Austrian accent. I don't know.
I'll be back. I'll be back.
All right.
Wonderful, wonderful.
Thank you, Mr. Shekel. If you guys want to donate, you know where it's at, down below. And if you do, the pee-pee song, that's the one we want to hear tonight. We need to pee-pee it up. Link in the description down below. Also, the super chat is underneath the chat over there. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Come again. All right, so Cowboy Cerrone versus Gaethje. Let's check it out. Let's go. Let's dive into it. Here we go. That is the poster, no? That's not the poster? This looks like a communion picture. Like, what the fuck? Is this? What is this? What are we looking at here?
Look up UFC Vancouver poster.
Well, what fight night is it?
At 158.
All right. UFC fight.
You can just put UFC
night.
Vancouver.
Yeah, but there has been a UFC Vancouver before.
158
they will come up.
poster.
Oh, shit. Hold on a second. Yeah, poster. All right. Let's look. No, it's not that. Oh, here. Oh, so it's this? Oh
I guess so.
That's pretty fucking gay. We didn't take a look at that poster. Hold on. Let's get this thing together here. Let's get ourselves together. Gotta take a peek at this thing. I mean, for such a badass fight, is that not a gay poster? This looks like the like a flyer for a gay club.
This is like Brokeback Mountain 2.
He's got a penis down there, and I like
what I see. Oh my God! PP! It's a miracle!
He's got a penis down there, and I like what I see.
You ready to sing along? Everybody, let's do it!
He's got a penis down there, and I like what I see.
Yeah!
PP! He's got a penis down there, and I like what I see. PP!
Wow. The perfect donation for this poster.
Wonderful, wonderful singing voice, JBH. I have to question my decision in contributing to you in not singing on Fugit Fridays.
Tell me about it. All right, life on autopilot.
Well, if I have to be honest with you, Life, and I appreciate the compliment, but you should donate to me on Food Off Fridays because I don't sing my normal singing voice on Food Off Friday. I go all out, and you're not going to enjoy it. So I would highly suggest you just donate to me because you're not going to get that voice anywhere else, including Food Off Friday.
It's so funny, Jesse. For some reason tonight, I'm not understanding you. I don't know why. Like, I felt like that was contradictory again, and I think it's me.
Donate to me so I win.
Okay.
So that I appreciate the
But you
compliment.
said you're going to give it your all.
No, like I go all out.
All out. So
When
if
I
you go
go-
all out, wouldn't he
When
want
I
to
go
donate towards
all
me?
out, I go crazy. So I don't use my regular singing voice. I use like stupid Jesse singing voice. You know? Why do you always look at the camera like that?
We're gonna need a translator. I love you to death, but sometimes I think that's what's mesmerizing about you. There are sometimes you say things that are wonderful, wonderful.
Wonderful, wonderful.
All right, let's go over to this poster. Thank you, Life on Autopilot, and everyone that is donated tonight. You all are brilliant, amazing people. And Jesse, I want out of 10, okay, your rating for this poster. That's what I want. And where did it go? What the fuck? Oh, there it is. All right, so what do you think? Out of 10, 10 being the greatest poster of all time.
Solid Brokeback Mountain 4.
A 4. It is gay though, right? I mean, listen, nothing against gay people. I love gay people. They're fantastic. They're beautiful people. But this looks like if I was walking up to a gay bar and I'm like, ooh, what's this about? This looks saucy. This looks sassy. Right? Does this look like a fight poster to you? Like Justin Gaethje, he looks like he has no pants on in the picture. Right? This looks like a complete...
It's Brokeback Mountain 2, Moss. What did I tell you?
Homoerotic Brokeback Mountain. What the hell are we looking at over here? Donald Cerrone looks like fucking a gay Chad Kroger up top. Like, right? Is this... What do you think? What do you think about... How did this poster slip through the cracks?
The first one was Brokeback Mountain. This is Brokeback Desert.
Ah. Desert? Why? Because Gaethje looks like he's in the desert?
Yeah.
Okay.
So this is called...
But shouldn't it be something with Vancouver?
So Brokeback Desert, the prequel to Brokeback Mountain.
Well, Canada, congratulations. You have the gayest poster I've ever seen the UFC put together. And for a fight that's complete fire, nothing about this poster says this is going to be a barn burner. This looks like my asshole's going to hurt. That's what this poster looks like to me. All right, let's see what the chat thinks about the poster. What the hell's going on with that?
Danielle Hampleton is laughing because Cowboy's on top. Annie says, I hate this fucking UFC poster.
It's Anne. Poor Anne. Poor Anne. I feel bad for you.
Fuck this. YouTube username says this poster got me pitching a tent. K-Dub, the Cowboy hat doesn't do it justice. Mark Jackson, giant cowboy backdooring little Jason. Young Savage, I bet JBH would watch that movie. Van Chipman, Brokeback Mountain 2, Spinal, starring Mike Tyson. Duke Chronic and H hates it. Poster fine. You guys just weird tonight, says Khabib Go. Johnny says the good, the bad, the big cock.
Wonderful, wonderful.
Who's that, Johnny?
Yeah.
Oh, I love
King
that.
K says Cowboy getting his rectum wrecked. Dawa Dean looks like a Crocodile Dundee Part 2. Val, this poster sucks. Steelers. Nick Diaz versus Conor McGregor. Upufu laughing in the chat. DDS Aquatics. Funny poster. Firefight. Danielle laughing in the chat. CC Sports Fan. Not that there's anything wrong with that. Ralph says, why so serious, Moss? It's 9/11, remember? And H, the promotion for the UFC fight night has not been good at all.
I think Johnny killed it. I think he killed it. Man.
Choo-choo, motherfuckers.
True grit.
JBH needs to take BJJ classes. That way whenever she argues with Moss she can just choke him out. No one argues with me anymore.
Wow.
I can't count how many times I choked out my mom.
I can choke him out. I know how to choke him out.
Thank you, True Grit. Appreciate it. What?
Yes, our neighbors are playing very loud music, and I believe it's in the courtyard. It's in the courtyard.
Wow, that is fucking loud. Holy shit. That must be blasted if we could hear it. I can hear it through my headphones. All right, so thank you, True Grit, for that wonderful, wonderful donation. If you're just jumping in, yes, that is right. This is the poster for this weekend. A fight that's going to be fantastic. There's no way it's going to suck, but the poster is a little homoerotic. All right, cool. Cool beans. All right, so we didn't really
Moss,
get a chance to look at
can I choke
this
you
card.
out on air?
You sure can. Well, I already said, like, why do people go to professional fighters, like how John Jones like chokes out the fans? People wait in line to get choked out by him. Why do people want that? What's so great about that? Like, people love getting choked out by UFC fighters. I don't want to experience that in any way. I don't need that. Like for instance, Robin Black was doing the thing with Nick Newell. He does a lot of things.
Well, he didn't choke him out.
Robin Black does a lot of these weird things where he's getting choked out. I think it's like a fetish that he has.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's like, all right, hey, get behind me and let's see how this works. Let's see how this choke really works. Ooh, I got a boner. Tap, 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 tap. Oh, I'm going to explode. Oh, man, this feels amazing. I mean, this hurts.
Right? Nick Newell, like everyone's jumping on him and choking him.
I don't think it's weird for him to ask them how they choked their opponent out. What's weird is after they show him, after they put him in the lock and everything, and they let him go, he's like, show me again. And then they do it again. Like that's what weirds me out a little bit.
I didn't feel it the first time. Try it one more time.
That's what I don't mind. Like if he's saying, "All right, show," because he wants it. But then when he says, "Show me again," then I'm like, I think once was enough.
He loves it. People like that shit. I don't know why.
Yeah.
Oh my God, fucking Robin Black. That guy is something else. But he is a nice guy. I'll give him that. He follows us on Twitter for God's sakes.
Yeah.
It's just it's imitation. It's what. I'm just flattering
Imitation
you, right?
is the highest form of flattery.
Yeah. So let's look at this card. What are we doing here? Well, how do we get into that? The choking.
Wonderful.
Co-main event, Glover. Hey, our boy Glover. He was on the show. Versus Krylov. Glover doesn't go anywhere. You know, he had that little encounter with John Jones.
Robin Black says bing when he busts.
Ooh, that feels so good, that choke over there. Oh, do it again. Bink. Oh, yeah. Oh, Nick. Oh, shove your nub in my asshole.
All
yeah.
right,
Bink.
Moss. A little much.
Wonderful.
Todd Duffy is back. Some people don't even know who Todd was. Well, he's back. He's fighting Jeff Hughes. Jeff Hughes looks like you just rub that, you poke that belly and you hear, I can't do it. My voice is all crackly. Can you do it? The Pillsbury Doughboy? No? Jeff Hughes, a little doughy. But yeah, welcome back, Todd Duffy. This guy he's always in good fights. So how about that? The top 3 fights are pretty good for a fight night. Not bad. We got Pereira versus Condosco. And then Uriah Hall, my boy. I love Uriah Hall. BBC all day, Jesse. Versus Antonio Carlos Jr. Damn, he's got his hands full with that one. All right. Uriah Hall has some of the greatest comebacks. Not like insult comebacks, like fight comebacks. And then Kirkinov versus Crute. This is a great card for a fight night.
There was one fight on the main card that was canceled.
Oh no, what?
Mitchell Pereira versus Sergey Kondoshko.
No. Well, if any of them, I would be fine with that. So who are they putting over there? Do you know?
They didn't say. They just Kondoshko pulled out. They were looking for a new opponent for Pereira, and it didn't happen. So
the Tabora fight, they'll probably move up. Tabora versus Sakai. Cole Smith versus Miles Johns. Andrew Sanchez, Marvin Vittori. You got Brad Katana, the guy from The Ultimate Fighter. This is a good card. Chaz Kelly, he's a decent fighter over there. He was in a controversial finish versus Jordan Griffin. I like this card a lot. Smolka versus McDonald. This is good shit. This is a good fight. This card blows away the Russia card. Like light years better than the Russia card. How do they put this shit together and then Russia it's like a shit show until the co-main event? This is great. This is fire. I'm really pumped up. We'll do the whole the whole damn thing, Jesse. The whole damn thing.
Wonderful.
What do you think about it?
He's got a penis down there, and I like what I see.
Well, here's the deal. Tomorrow night, Jesse is going to break down this card. So tune in for her special solo show.
Yes, at 8 p.m. Eastern time. Make sure you guys tune in. I will be live 8 p.m.
That's going to be interesting. You know what? I'm going to watch this time, Jesse.
Yeah? You're going to tune into my show?
I like this card.
All right.
I want to learn. I want to learn more about these fights. If you want to learn more, tune in tomorrow. Hit that notification bell and watch Jesse perform.
Wonderful.
Not on a pole. That would be better if you did it on a pole.
Yeah?
Right? Yeah.
I'll do it booty shorts and boobies showing. How about that?
All right. Boobies and booties. Sure. I'm down.
All right.
Okay, so I wanted to speak about something real quick before we get back into the news. Okay. I was looking at the rankings. And I don't think we have a story on this, but I'm just going to put it on here. Gregor Gillespie. Let me know what the ones in the chat if you are familiar with Gregor the Gift Gillespie. Let me know in the chat if you are familiar with the gift. Okay, and while you're doing that, I'm going to go over to his Instagram. Gregor Gillespie over here. Gregor the Gift. Go give him a follow. He's a Long Island guy. I don't know if our buddy that used to call in, I hope he still watches because this is a big moment for Gregor. There's a lot of ones. All right, Law Vigo is trolling. What a troll.
Oh, that troll.
That troll.
Stuff.
Look at that troll in the chat.
Ugh, those darn trolls.
That pesky troll in the chat. Anyway, Gregor the Gift put a post out. He never calls out any fighters. In fact, even when he's leading up to a fight, he doesn't talk negative about fighters. He's very one-dimensional. Let's talk about fishing. And when he fights, he's really fun to watch. Undefeated fighter, 13-0. He finally calls someone out.
Who?
He called out Paul Felder. He calls out Paul Felder, the Dragon. This is the first time ever the Gift goes there. And I was like, holy smokes. Now, I don't think they're going to give him Paul Felder because Felder gets a win over Barboza. And, some say it was controversial. I don't think it was. Even though I thought Barboza won, who cares? But I think Felder's going in the upright, direction. And I don't think that Gillespie would be fair for Felder. Although I would love to see it. I don't think it would be fair. If you look at 155, some people are saying he has the goods to take on Khabib. He has the goods, Jesse.
Khabib.
Gregor sits at number 11 right now, 13-0. Now, the only notable person that Gregor fought is Yancy Medeiros, right? And he beat him. He finished him. So now here he is. Who should he fight? If you look at the people above him, everyone has a dance partner, right? So the question is Kevin Lee going to be a 155er again? Or is he going, if he's staying at 170? Edson Barboza coming off the loss seems like the only person. I would like to see Ally Quinta, but why would he go backwards? Actually, oh no, he's fighting Hooker. So yeah, that's happening. That's a number 15 Dan Hooker. Everyone's got a dance partner over here. Cowboys fighting Gaethje. Dustin Poirier off the loss. That's a big jump to throw. Would you do that, Jess? Like Dustin Poirier after the loss fighting a number 11? Would that be too big of a jump?
Yeah, it's too big of a jump. I don't like it.
Who does the Gift fight? I mean, he's hungry. He's ready to get back in there.
Give him Felder.
Now, Felder, he beat a guy that wasn't Barboza ahead of him? Hold on a second.
Ahead of Felder?
Yeah.
No, I don't believe so. No.
But yeah, Felder, he was.
He was. Barboza.
He was. So Paul Felder went up 3 spots to number 7.
Barboza went out too. Interesting.
So yeah, you can't give him Felder. You can't do that.
Why not?
Because Felder's going up.
So give him Barboza.
I mean, I would love to see that, but I don't think it would be right to Felder.
Give him Barboza then.
So the Gift going up to number 9 versus Edson.
Yes.
I'm down. Edson would run Barboza over. I mean, Gillespie would run. Did I say Edson would run Barboza?
So here's what you do.
Over? Gillespie would run over
gets
Barboza.
a top 10 contender in Barboza. Barboza moves down after Gillespie wins. Gillespie's now at number 9, fights Paul Felder for the number 7 spot, and then moves his way up. I see in the chat that they're saying the Gift may fight. What about if he fights the winner of the Brokeback Mountain fight? Why
Cerrone,
would he do
Gaethje?
that? If they're not even give him Paul Felder because Felder moved up to spot 7, they're not going to give him the
He
winner
should fight
of Cowboy
the loser.
Gaethje.
What about the loser of that fight?
The loser of Cowboy Gaethje would still be higher than Barboza.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Coming off a loss, you have to, like, if you look at Iaquinta, he's fighting Hooker. Hooker's 15. So if you're coming off a loss in that fight, say if Cerrone or Gaethje loses, say if it's
then
Cerrone.
They're going to be down to maybe number 6 or 7.
Yeah, he'll be ahead of the Gift.
If that's the case,
the loser.
Here's the thing: if Cowboy or Gaethje, whoever the loser is, moves down to 7, Paul Felder will move down to number 8, I believe. So if that's the case, they could give Gillespie either Felder, or if you're looking for the loser of that, he'll still fight the number 7 contender.
You got to give the Gift somebody. The Gift's got to get back in there. The Gift. We need the Gift back in the cage. A lot of people don't know who this guy is. He's a lunatic. He's 13-0. The only problem is he's 32. He's not getting any younger right now. Now's the time. He came in the game a little bit late, and he's been on fire. He has 1 unanimous decision, and everything else is finishes in the UFC. The Gift's last fight was January 19, 2019, with his little weird man bun over there. Is he the answer to the Khabib puzzle? Would you like down the road, like in a couple of fights, would you like to see the Gift climb the rankings and fight Khabib Nurmagomedov?
I would certainly like to see him climb the rankings, but I don't think he's going to be fighting Khabib. Wow.
So you think Khabib retires before that happens?
I don't know if he retires. I don't really know what's going to happen to the belt, but I don't see Gillespie challenging for it. I think I would like to see him move up for sure in the rankings.
So you're saying no title shot in the near future for
No,
Gillespie?
I don't see it.
Okay.
No.
I think Gregor's the type of guy, if he starts calling people out, which he already started doing, I think it's going to be a little bit of a fan's going to jump on this guy. Because when you look at it...
If that's the case, why haven't they jumped on him already, you know?
No, they are. They're slowly jumping on him, but he's quiet. Now he's starting to open his mouth. And what I'm seeing is this. Every time you have a dominant champion, and you have Khabib, who could possibly be the most dominating champion ever, the way this guy is going right now. The guy is fantastic. As much as people are thinking I dog on this guy, the guy is very, very good. right? I still think he has to do a little bit more work to be that pound for pound good, but he is right there. Like he is completely right there, and he could be the most dominant champion ever, right? So when his career is over, then we can discuss that. It's not over right yet, and he still has some work to do. So when you see this, you have the other side of the equation. People are going to look for the guy that's going to be the one to go after him. If Ferguson falls or Ferguson doesn't fight him or whatever, if he's not the guy, then who is the guy? Is it Justin Gaethje?
It could be.
I don't believe it. Is it Paul Felder?
It's certainly not Felder or Iaquinta or even Kevin Lee.
None of those guys.
So Gaethje is a prospect for sure.
Gaethje gets mauled by the Eagle.
But still a prospect. And this is what I hate. And this is what I'm going to talk about tomorrow, so I'm not going to go too far into it. But
Stop talking about tomorrow and talk today.
I absolutely hate that people don't give Gaethje the credit that he deserves in his wrestling background. Yes, granted, he doesn't show it. He's a striker. He goes in head first. He doesn't protect his head, but he still makes it through. He prevails every time. But he has a proficient background in wrestling that everybody's just completely ignoring. And I think that if he were up against an opponent like Khabib Nurmagomedov, yes, Khabib will most certainly try to maul him, get him to the ground, take advantage of him, do all of those things, dominate that fight. But I would not put it against Gaethje and his wrestling skills to have what it takes to at least put up a hell of a fucking fight against Khabib. Maybe even going the distance.
All right. So Gaethje does have a wrestling background. I can't recall the last time we've seen him use it. And he doesn't like to use it. He likes to put people to sleep.
He loves to be on the feet, yes.
So I think his wrestling will keep him alive. Yes. I think that's what's going to happen. When Khabib gets his back or gets on top of him, which is inevitable, that's going to happen. It's definitely going to happen. I feel that he will pull out of his bag of tricks a la Iaquinta, right? Iaquinta did it where he was fighting the hands.
I think he would do it better than Iaquinta.
Gaethje has the ability to escape or stay alive.
Yes.
Okay? That is not going to be the difference in the fight. The difference in that fight would be Gaethje catching him on the way in because Gaethje has bombs in his hands or leg kicks. I mean, Gaethje's leg kicks are insane. So if his kicks, I should say, are insane. So maybe he catches Khabib on the chin on the way in. Like maybe he can do something like that. I don't think his wrestling, I don't think he's going to out-wrestle Khabib.
I never said that. But I do think he's going to put up a hell of a fight. He's going to be a huge contender for Khabib. And I honestly think that he can go the distance and maybe even get a split decision. I'm not saying he would win.
Gaethje's not the guy.
I'm not saying he would win. But like I said in last week's show, nobody's found the solution to Khabib's riddle yet. There has not been one solved fighter to Khabib's riddle.
So,
and I'm not saying Gaethje's going to be that guy, but I certainly think he's going to put up a hell of a fight, and he'll lead it. Khabib will probably win that split decision, but Gaethje will at least lead it to that
So it
split.
goes back to my point that I was trying to make before.
Yes.
Okay? If it's not Tony Ferguson, who should be the one that fights Khabib, although we're going to get into what Ali and Khabib are saying. Do you have that story about... We'll cue that up because I think we should segue into that. That story.
Okay.
Yeah, hold that. So... if it's not Tony Ferguson, if Tony Ferguson fights and fails, or that fight never materializes,
yes.
Okay, or who knows? Who knows what's going to happen? You look down this list: Ferguson, Poirier, McGregor, Cerrone, Gaethje, Iaquinta, Paul Felder, Kevin Lee, Edson Barboza, Anthony Pettis. I see no one beating him,
right? Because
they don't have his game. The only one that has that game,
can I say it?
Is
Georges St. Pierre.
Oh my goodness.
Gregor Gillespie.
We're gonna get into St. Pierre. We're gonna transition to that next.
Gillespie.
Gregor Gillespie on this 155 list is the guy that has the keys. He's a 5'9" fighter. He's not very big, but he is powerful on the ground, and he has the striking. He could put you to sleep as well. He is the guy.
Mm-hmm.
We wait, and that's why people are gonna get excited about the gift.
Yeah.
This is a long. I was trying to fucking get to this point, but Jesse takes us on adventures along the way, and now we finally got back to the point I was trying to make 20 hours ago.
You don't have to be so passive aggressive, you know.
I'm not. I'm just stating the facts. So this is why people are going to jump on the gift. Mark my fucking words. After the next Gregor fight, everyone is going to be on the train. If Kukui falls to Khabib, everyone and their mother that's anti-Khabib or just wants to see him lose is going to jump on the gift train. Let's segue to this story over here on the MMA-Holes.com about Ali Abdelaziz and Khabib Nurmagomedov. Jesse, what do we have over here?
According to MMAnews.com, Khabib's manager wants GSP next, not Tony Ferguson. Khabib's manager, Ali Abdelaziz, prefers his fighter to face GSP next instead of Tony. Nurmagomedov improved his already stellar professional mixed martial arts record to 28-0 this past Saturday. The Eagles submitted Dustin Poirier, who entered their bout as the interim lightweight title holder. This marked Nurmagomedov's second successful defense. Ali Abdelaziz wants Khabib versus GSP and shuns Ferguson. TMZ Sports caught up with Abdelaziz, who said that Nurmagomedov will fight GSP if that is who he wants next.
Hold on a second. Let's just let this soak in, okay? Ali Abdelaziz, listen, say what you want about the guy. He's a rat snitch. He's this and that. He's a good manager. The guy puts his fighters in good positions over here. I understand why they're trying to angle this, but this is so fucking dumb, and this has been going on forever. It's going to hurt Khabib's legacy to even talk about this shit. GSP is not fighting at 155. What are we doing here? Well, what do you, why? Why are we still talking about this shit? All right, now, keep going with the story.
Abdelaziz said, quote, "Nobody really cares what Tony says. Nobody gives a fuck, really. As far as I know, GSP is next. That is what I want. Tony doesn't get what he wants. We get what Khabib wants, and if Khabib calls me and says he wants GSP, GSP will be next." Abdelaziz went on to explain why GSP makes more sense as the next lightweight title challenger over Ferguson by saying, quote, "GSP is my friend for 10 years, and I know GSP wants to fight Khabib. If you're going to compare Tony Ferguson, he beat a whole bunch of guys, but he never been a champion. I'm talking about if Khabib is going to fight for legacy, a fight with GSP will be a huge fight. Dana White is a businessman. That's why he's the best promoter of all time. I think him and GSP make a lot more money and more headlines. People will care more. It's a fight for who is the greatest of all time."
Okay, so if Khabib was going to fight at 170 against GSP to solidify his legacy, I am 100% down. I am down for that. Make GSP try to hit that 170. Again, he fought at 185 the last time. He's going to be able to hit 170. I feel he's a true professional, GSP. Khabib meets him at 170 and goes for it. Okay? That's how this fight should happen. If that's the case, let's talk. But you know that Khabib has no interest at all at going to 170. Not this at this stage of his career. Maybe in 2 years, when he's on his last leg, or 1 year when he's on his last leg and he's done, he had enough.
You can't stop this
Maybe then, but not now.
Motherfuckers.
True grit.
As someone who has never fought in MMA, the way to beat Khabib is to throw up submissions from off your back. No one is more comfortable on his back than Ferguson. Alice Lees fears what Ferguson will do to his boy.
Maybe that's the case. I mean, he's got to fear GSP. Thank you, True Grit. I mean, you got to fear GSP too. And the only way to not fear GSP is to drain him down to 155. It's the only way you might have a little bit of an edge on the guy. GSP at 170, I still have all my money on GSP versus Khabib. GSP is one of the greatest. I know he's been out of the game for a minute, but he knows how to beat everybody. The guy's that good. But at 155, that's where the playing field gets even, and GSP could die trying to make that weight. But why are we even talking about this? Here's the solution to the problem. Tony Ferguson fights Khabib Nurmagomedov. Make it happen. A fifth time's a charm. If it falls through, I have a backup plan that still makes it electrifying here. Some may not like this, but this is my backup plan. Dustin Poirier, coming off the loss to Khabib Nurmagomedov, gets choked out in the third round. Conor McGregor comes off the loss to Khabib Nurmagomedov, gets choked out in the fourth round. Both of these fighters need to tango once again. Run it back. And the reason why I want this run back is because I want that fight to be the co-main event fight for Khabib and Tony Ferguson. A 1-2 punch that would be fantastical. If, God forbid, someone falls out of that main event, you can insert either of those guys back in. It's not the right thing to do, but at least you have a backup plan over there. They're ready at 155. That's what you do. Tony Ferguson versus Khabib has to happen. Has to happen. Put the backup plan on the card. God forbid it falls apart. You don't have a disaster because you have two other guys there that can slip in at any time. And you still don't lose the money for your pay-per-view. It's that simple. It's that simple over there. Tony versus Khabib Nurmagomedov. Fifth time, we're going to see it. Let's see what the chat.
Wait, Moss, can I just point something out real quick?
Yeah.
Look at this.
She was flexing in the mirror again, in case you were wondering.
Look at this.
Move over. Wow, look at that, Jesse. Oh, my God. Shredded. She's getting shredded, guys. She's inverted. She's so shredded.
It's crazy, right?
That is crazy, Jesse. That my mind is blown.
Whew.
There you go. All right, let's see what this chat has to say about the situation with Khabib Nurmagomedov.
All right. Yammy, whatever that means. Fat JBH, Jack six-pack. Okay, Tony catches Khabib in a sub like 1 out of 10 times. Good luck with that. I am hungry. So hot. It has not to happen. Khabib versus GSP is the fight.
Wow. That's a scared Khabib fan, I think.
T-Bird, lots of black belts that do worse than Conor on the ground as a brown belt. Ouch. Gregor versus McGregor for the battle to have Gregor in his name. Kevin Lee or Pettis works too.
Wonderful.
Yes, Moss, totally agree. Been saying this since Sunday. Tony won't do anything off his back on the fence. Dustin even said Khabib doesn't give anyone room for submissions. Khabib GOAT is a faggot. Khabib
Oh my God.
will beat Tony. Moss, you lucky madman. JBH, have Moss punched you in the stomach? We need to see how buff you really are.
Let me give it a shot.
You want to know what he does? When we're doing ab workouts at the gym, he tries to beat the shit out of my stomach. It hurts so bad.
She has a weak core.
It hurts. And why would you hit someone in the stomach?
I don't hit you hard though.
While we're doing abs. No. But he uses the tips of his knuckles. Have you ever had someone use the tip of their knuckles to hit you in the abs while you're?
I'm like
working
tapping her abs.
Yeah, tapping my ass. Like,
and she's like, "Oh, it hurts so much. Ew, stop it."
Oh,
it works.
Why do you make me sound like that?
Well, it's a parody. It's a.
Yeah, it's not even close.
Could you imagine that everyone that I impersonate called me up and said, "Oh my God, why do you say that? It doesn't even work." I don't do any of my impersonations work.
It's not even good.
If you take offense to it, then I'm going to do it more. You know this by now.
It's not offensive. You just don't sound like me.
You don't sound like me.
But he beats the shit out of my abs. He's just trying to get under my skin.
I'm just kidding. I'm just a joke.
He beats the shit out of my abs when we're doing ab workouts, and actually it's painful because he uses the tips of his knuckles.
I don't use the tip of my knuckles.
Yes, he does.
I use the tip of my cock. All right. Anyway, Jesse. All right.
You're so annoying.
Well, I mean, can we have a conversation here? Where we going with this?
We're having a conversation.
About the tips of my knuckles?
It's not what you wanted to have a conversation about. So.
I'm sorry. I'd like to talk about MMA. It's an MMA show.
We were talking about MMA. We were talking about working out.
The tip of my knuckles.
Oh my God. Poor thing. Not everything's what Moss wants to talk
fucking
about.
Nuts. All right. Anyway, so what do you think about this, Jesse? With the GSP situation, okay? The GSP situation, back up again. It seems like every time you think it's dead and it's over and done with the gentleman that retired, Ali, Khabib, they want it again. And I understand it would be a crazy super fight. You would have the money involved, and if they could convince GSP to hit 155, it would be a spectacle, right? And it would even the playing field. But what do you think? Do you want this to happen? Some people do, some don't. What do you say?
I would like to see it happen, but I don't think it will happen.
Where would you like to see it happen? Like what weight class?
155.
Okay.
Because I believe GSP can make 155.
So now I was doing a little more research too, and he hasn't really officially made it. He's made it 160s, but he's
come extremely close, and that was him not even trying for a fight. So I genuinely believe GSP can make 155.
So you're looking for him to completely drain himself just to get there and get this paycheck?
I don't think he would drain himself. I think he knows what he's doing. We saw pictures, we saw posts that he's made himself of making it to 155, and he wasn't even conditioning for a fight. If he were conditioning for a fight, I guarantee he can make 155 healthy and still be able to fight.
There's a bunch of reasons why I don't want to see it. Selfishly, I want to see 170. Like, that would be fun to watch. That would be cool. I'd be down with that. It would be very interesting to me. Neither party, I mean, GSP would go for that, but Khabib won't. So it's like, it wastes my time, wastes everyone's time for me to talk about it. But to see GSP sickly get into 155, I have zero interest in that.
I don't think he would sickly do it. I think he would healthily find a way to do it.
There's no healthy, but this is what I'm saying. There's no healthy way. He just fought at 185, right? And he's had a history of health problems.
GSP walks around at 190. That's a fair argument. But if we were to take Moss's logic, Khabib walks around at 180. So I have no doubt GSP can make 155. So if Khabib can do it, GSP can do it.
So you're basically like, GSP, I want you to die so I can see this fight. I want a chance where you can fall into the hospital and see this fight.
I think that he can do it in a healthy way.
Let me ask you this now. If they put this fight together at 155, wouldn't you be scared that GSP last minute can't make that weight and then the fight gets destroyed?
Why? GSP is a professional. I don't think last minute he won't be able to make the weight.
He's so professional he's turning down 155 because he knows he can't make it.
He never turned down 155. When did he ever turn down 155? Tell me. Tell me exactly when he turned down 155. He didn't.
He did. He retired.
Nope. He retired because they wouldn't give him the fight.
No. See,
yes. He retired because they wouldn't give him the Khabib fight. He didn't have any of the fights on his little thing that he wanted to see happen. He wanted to fight Khabib. They turned it down. Khabib finally wanted to fight at 155. Khabib.
No, GSP turned it down, Jess.
No, GSP did not turn it down. Khabib was calling out GSP first. That fight didn't add up.
Baby.
At the time. Don't
No, I'm just saying that is wrong.
Right, but
You're giving
Khabib.
false information.
It's not false information.
No,
Khabib did call for the fight first.
No, he said right before he retired, Khabib reached out to GSP and was pleading for him to take the 155 fight. GSP turned it down and retired. That's exactly what happened. I don't know. I think you're mixing your.
If GSP turned it down and then retired, then why would GSP say that he would come back to fight Khabib during his retirement speech?
Because he wants him at 170. He doesn't want him at 155.
Why would he be posting all those teasers about him being able to make 155?
Let's move on. Let's just
Why
move on.
do you do that?
No, I'm just saying let's move on because we're not getting anywhere with this conversation, so I'm just going to move to the next topic. I mean, that's fair, right? It's only fair. I don't know why she's giving me that look.
You're so frustrating.
He can't make 155.
I think he can.
Now, we've spoken about weight cutting, and let's segue into weight cutting then. Because, I mean, we've spoken about weight cutting before, and we've had conversations that these guys are draining themselves so much to get to these weights. And I feel like their rankings are all jammed up because you have guys jumping from weight class to weight class. I was looking at the rankings before the stream, and look at this shit. And I want to know your thoughts on this whole situation. So you have 155, and you still have on the 155 rankings, you have Kevin Lee, and you have Anthony Pettis. So Anthony Pettis is at number 10, and Kevin Lee is at number 8. Okay, 8 and 10. But their last fight was at 170. So what are we doing here? Like, what is the situation here? Are they at 170? Are they 155? They're not ranked in 170. Anthony Pettis has 2 fights at 170, and he's at number 10 on 155. So my solution is this. Enough's enough. You need to have these fighters fight closer to their natural weight and not have them jump all over the place because it fucks everything up. It screws the whole situation up. Now, GSP is retired, so really it doesn't screw anything. If he can make 155 healthy, then go for it. But I believe that they should put in place a system where these fighters fight closer to their natural weight. That's what I say over here. What do you think about this, Jesse? Looking at these rankings. And Pettis at number 10, Kevin Lee at number 8. They fought at 170 last. And they're on the 155 list.
I don't mind it.
What do you mean you don't mind it?
Kevin and Pettis?
I'm saying Kevin Lee, they're on the 155-pound rankings, yet they are fighting in 170.
So? You said Khabib walks around at 180, he's fighting at 155.
No, you're missing my point. So, I'm saying 155, if you look at the rankings, okay, Kevin Lee is at number 8, and Anthony Pettis is at number 10. Anthony Pettis just had 2 fights at 170. So what's going on? Why are they on the 155 list? What is your solution to that? You think it's fine? Just let it stay?
Yeah, who cares? I mean, they still fought at that weight class. They still made that ranking.
All right. So Jesse says, who cares? I say, let's fix this. Let's fix this problem. It's a problem.
Stop the Siberian Express. Choo-choo, motherfuckers.
We got Vladimir with the donation.
Not sure how it's so impossible for GSP to cut to 155 when they are both the same height and walk around at similar weight when they're not in camp.
Thank you.
Also, Ferguson walks around at over 200 pounds. He has an even bigger cut.
Here's how it's a problem. If it was earlier in GSP's career, I would say it would be an easier weight cut. We saw him at I think he was at like 160 something. I can't remember the picture that we saw. It was either 160, 165, somewhere in there. And he was sitting in a sauna or something with his shirt off. The guy looked like he was going to die. And then he stopped it right there. Now, is it physically impossible to hit 155? No. It's possible. Like, look at Christian Bale. The guy dropped a crazy amount of weight to get into the machinist. I mean, the guy almost looked like he was going to die. So anyone can do it. But to do it healthy at this stage of the game when you're retired, to drain yourself when you just fought at 185 to go all the way down to 155, I just don't think it's worth it, because what if he can't at the last second and then that fight falls apart? You're just wasting a Khabib fight. Another fight is canned because of that situation. I don't think it's worth the risk. I really don't. What do you think on that?
I think it is worth the risk. I've said this. I'm not going to keep saying it. It's worth the risk. I think he can make it.
What if he doesn't?
He will.
All right. So Jesse's very, very confident on this one. So your solution, though, so you don't care about weight cutting then? You're cool with it? I'm talking about now the other situation.
What is wrong with weight cutting?
I think it sucks.
All fighters weight cut, Moss.
They don't have to. They don't have to. I think
If
they
they-
should keep it natural, closer
What?
to the natural weight. You see these guys going up to 170 that are fighting
That's
closer
part
to the
of
natural weight.
sport. It's part of what gives a fighter an advantage.
So going to the hospital is part of the sport?
There are commission regulations, like what Paulo Costa did at his last fight. There's commission regulations. If they cut too much weight and gain back a certain more than a certain percentage, then they're told that they have to move up to a certain weight class. Like in California, the commission told Paulo Costa after his last fight against Yoel Romero, because he gained too much of a percentage back, now he can no longer fight at middleweight in California. So, fuck that. The sport is all about getting the advantage. It's all about competition. And in order to be competitive and to get that advantage is to cut the weight. And if you do it right, then there's no problem. If you're cutting too much weight and gaining back more than a certain percentage, the commission is going to catch you anyways. So there's no problem. Just do it right.
All right, we really, I'm looking for a solution here. And the reason why is I don't want any more people pulling out of fights, going to the hospital. I don't want people getting hurt, any of that stuff. And I'm a selfish fan. I want to see these fights happen. If I'm going to get amped up for a fight and then someone has to get wheeled to the hospital, or you see someone staggering off the scale because of weight cutting.
Well, that was their choice to be in that division.
Okay, but what I'm saying is we should stop that choice. That's what I say. I say that we should crack down.
I think fighters should fight at whatever
They need to be in
division
charge.
that they think they can make.
They need to hire me. All right, let's see what the chat says about this situation, because we are completely on different sides of the thing. And let's see what they have to say.
Tony versus Conor. Decision 14/2019. Khabib versus St. Pierre, January 2020. Just sit, guys. GSP can lose 30, but at his age, with his health history, stomach issues, then he must fight against Khabib. Just a middle finger, Tony. Waste of time. There's one thing that I would give when it comes to the weight cut for GSP. When he did the weight cut against Michael Bisping at UFC 217, he got ulcerative colitis right afterward, and it was because of the way that he cut his weight. That is one argument I will give to you, because it is clearly dangerous for GSP just to get down to the weight that he got to against Bisping. So for him to get to 155, as much as I believe he can get to 155, it may not be as healthy as it should be, and he can suffer more health problems. So I will give you that. I will give you that.
I'm done with the health problems. I'm done with people pulling out. I'm done with it.
I do think that he still can make 155. Healthy or not, he can make it.
I don't want to see these guys like staggering onto the scale anymore, like looking like they're going to die. I think enough's enough. You know, you see these guys doing it. When we saw Conor cut to 145, he looked like he was going to die. You see Khabib every weight cut trying to get to that championship weight. The dude is getting practically carted to his room to go sleep, and I mean, it's sickening to see. I'd rather see guys fight more healthy. I want to see competitive fights at a healthy weight. Not this. Why do we have to see weight cuts? I know people want to get the advantage. I get it, but get the advantage in your skill then. Sharpen your skills in the gym.
But if you're fighting another fighter who's proficient in the same type of skill, you know, like,
it's time to fix the problem. It's time. It's time to take a stand.
I problem if they do it smart.
All right. So how is doing it smart when people are still going to wind up going to the hospital?
What do you mean?
They should weigh these fighters throughout the year, see where their natural weight is.
I think there's a process to weight cutting that should be put in place, but I don't think that we should completely ban fighters from weight cutting.
Why?
Because,
not ban them from weight cutting. What I'm saying, they can still weight cut, but do it at a more natural weight cut.
Yeah, I think that there's certainly a process that the UFC could put in place to ensure that these fighters are healthy as they do it. I think that could happen, but why would the UFC spend more money on that? You know.
I want more fights and less people getting hurt. More fights and less fights falling apart. I'm a solution maker. I'm the man of solutions. I figure everything out and I give you the answers. Whether you want to take the answers or not, that's your problem or the UFC's problem. They should listen to me. Now, if you don't want answers, then you say, nah, keep it the way it is. Let's just go with it. I'm the answer man. The answer man. They need to do it for me. That's what the UFC needs to do. They need to do it for fucking me. It's about time they take a stand. And do it for me. I take a stand. Do it for me. No more insane weight cuts. And I don't want to see fighters jumping around from fucking weight class to weight class anymore and tying up divisions. If you jump, you stay there. Do it for me. If you're going to jump to an upper level or lower, So Diaper John just sends me a text. Clearly he doesn't watch the show. He was on the show. He doesn't watch it. And he just goes Spider-Man thumbs down.
Wonderful, wonderful.
You know what I want to do? I want to take some phone calls on this situation. Let's just open up the lines and let them go strong. Drunk Savage got it going.
Khabib versus GSP 165 for the most polite MF''E.R. title.
Wonderful.
You want to do that? We have the baddest motherfucker and then the most polite motherfucker title?
Well, GSP hasn't been very polite. I mean, Khabib hasn't been very polite as of late.
No? Well, to
No,
reporters.
You saw it.
To reporters, but to other fighters, he's pretty civilized. All right, I want to take some phone calls on this situation. I want to take phone calls on the pound for pound. We have a lot of news to get to, but I feel we should hear from the people, right? We promised them their voice be heard. So let's take a couple of calls, and then we can end up with a couple more stories here. So we're going to open this up. So we just found out that Spider-Man sucked. Breaking news. 516-522-0267 is the number. We want to get your thoughts on weight cutting. We want to get your thoughts on the pound-for-pound rankings. John Jones is number 1, Khabib number 2, Henry Cejudo number 3. And what do you think about non-MMA people voting for this pound-for-pound ranking? Any things you want to hear from the phone calls?
Nah.
No? All right. 516-522-0267 is the number. Let's see what's going on in the chat.
Wonderful.
Scotty Pimpin says Arnold is GSP's hero. Zed Gaethje. La Vigo says Pixelated Vigo, bro. You know a lot of BBCs. It's
NH.
The knitter.
Hey! Hello, Chris. Hello, Jesse.
What's up, man?
What's up?
What's going on, man? Big week for you. So I'm pretty sure I know what you're talking about.
Talk, man. There's a lot of stuff.
All right. So what do you got?
Don't know what to talk about.
Well, listen.
All sorts of stuff.
We know what you. Let's get to the elephant in the room here. I mean, you have a gentleman fighting this Saturday. Let's get your thoughts on that.
Oh, well, we already know he's going to win, so there you go.
Oh, so Cowboy for the win, you're saying?
Yeah, he is.
Okay, there you go. You have a prediction on what round finish or what?
I say third round finish, yes.
Okay, good stuff. Third round finish by the Cerrone. I hope you're right because I got money on him. If you're not, I'm going to hunt you down.
So you know where I live.
I'm going to hunt you down. All right. What else you got on your mind, Ann?
Yeah, weight cutting. I mean, I know it's part of the sport, and that's, like Jesse's saying, that's part of it, and I understand that. And, you know, like, if you don't make weight, you know, I don't like that when they don't make it. Like, you know, it ruins it. I mean, a lot of them still go ahead and take the fight, you know, but I hate that. But I just don't, like you said, I don't think it's really healthy. I don't like them when they keep going up or down, up or down. I want to move up to weight. I want to go down. You know, that's their choice, but it's not healthy either. God, him at 155, I cannot see that. I think he looked like a TJ.
Yeah.
You know, like TJ looked. He looked horrible at that weight, and he still got his butt kicked. You know, I mean, Cowboy doesn't look the greatest at 155, but he looked more natural at 170.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He looks really, really drained at 155. But
isn't it wild how he went back? You thought like he would never leave from 170, and then he's like, screw it.
And I think it's like what you said before. He's not real tall, and that division, those guys, they're pretty tall.
Mm-hmm.
And he looks kind of smaller and shorter. I don't know. Both divisions are hard. What can I say? 170 or 155, you know?
So let's say this. If you were in charge of the UFC, what would you do? Would you change anything, or would you just keep everything the same? What would you do as someone that pulls all the strings in the UFC? Would you try to fix this problem, or you just keep it the same?
Yeah, I would try to fix the problem. I would put some other divisions in there so that a fighter's not trying to kill themselves one way or another. I mean, like the women, you know, the weight challenges of women, obvious. We know what that problem is, water gain and so on. And as athletes, it's different. I realized women at that time of the month is different, but it is harder for women, and there's not that many divisions there. And the men, there needs to be more too. I just think there should be more divisions. That's
okay.
Here, but they're not going to do that. We all know that.
Well, we have Ann H. We have the knitter on the line. If you're just jumping in, she is the queen of the 7%, giving her thoughts on all these situations. So
yeah, I wish there was more, divisions. I really think that's a healthier way to go, but they'll never do that.
Yeah. All right. So what else is on your mind, Miss H?
What else on my mind? What else do we talk about? Remind me, I'm old. You know where I am.
Yeah, and I hung up on Vanship Man for this. I don't know. I can't hang up on you though. All right. So, remind me. All right, Jess, fill her in.
I mean, I like
don't make me hang up on you.
One thing, and it's like I can't sing.
Yeah. And what do you? I mean, JBH. What do you think? What else do we have that we talked about tonight?
Thanks for leaving it on me, Moss.
Well, you were part of the show. Sheesh.
Pound for pound rankings, UFC Vancouver, GSP moving down to fight Khabib.
Yeah, touching it. Oh yeah, those rankings, man. That, like you said, that I don't think they know what they're doing. The fans should be the ones to vote on that, or at least people that know more about the sport.
Yeah. Yeah, now if they called you up and said, Ann, listen, I mean, it's a big job. You know, you have a lot of responsibility. If they called you up and said, Ann, we want you to be one of the people voting for the pound for pound list, would you take that job?
Yeah, I would. Ooh. Yeah, I think it would be great. I would do my research and study. Okay, I wouldn't go by, hey, this is my favorite fighter, I'm putting him at number one. No, you can't do that. You have to do research on what they're doing, and I still think, the rankings are... weird.
And I can't believe this. Van says I'm a sad little man-child. I think he's hurt again.
Van.
You think he's hurt again, Ann?
Don't.
Call in, I'll hang up again. I mean, what the hell? He called up, right? And he's like, I don't know, man. What did they talk? What did you guys talk about? I'm like, what the? We had fiery calls, and then he calls up. Like, I don't know what's going on. What's it? I'm like, at least you called up and knew what the hell was going on for a minute. Van, call back again.
Funny.
You sad little man-child. Whatever that means. All right, anyway. Fucking guy. He gets so upset.
Jesse.
Jesus.
Yeah, he was upset.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Van.
Van.
Right. We still love him. It's just, I don't know. He gets mad quick.
And the phone, I don't know. My phone, it just kept going busy. So, I don't know.
It happens. All right, last and final thoughts so we can let some more callers call in.
Okay. Oh, yeah, I just wanted to give my shout-outs to Drunk Savage and Pulse and all the other guys and Flat Earth and everybody else I keep forgetting. Even all the Vigos.
Oh, even the Vigos you're giving it to.
And happy birthday to Gary.
Oh, yes, 50 years old.
50-year-old.
Do you want to sing Gary a birthday song?
I think I'm still the oldest, at least of the women I am.
That's all right. We like all shapes and sizes.
That category is weird, too, when you put the age where it was, and I go, well, I'm very rare and different because I'm above the age of whoever watches this.
Yeah. All right, Ann.
All right.
Thanks for the call. Appreciate it.
Thanks.
Here's Ann. Ann's the best. 516-522-0267. Let us know what you think about what happened tonight on the show. We spoke about the ranking system. Is it flawed with who votes for it? And we found out that they're not all MMA people or media or journalists. We have the situation of weight cutting we were discussing. Diak Sheet. How do you say that name, Jesse? Diak Sheet? I don't know. 773 live with the MMA-Holes. Is this Kevin?
What's up, boys and girls?
What's up,
How's
Kev?
it going?
We're wonderful, man.
Wonderful.
Wonderful. So I called into Luke the Puke Thomas show, and I said Dustin Poirier is soft.
Oh,
and
shit.
Him and a lot of other people, a lot of the other callers, they didn't like that. They're giving me shit for it. But I had to be true to myself. I had to speak the honest truth.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think Tony Ferguson or Justin Gaethje would, in between corners, saying, I can't get this guy off me? Paul Felder, would he say something like that? No, Dustin Poirier got exposed for being soft. And then someone else called in and said, well, Justin Gaethje beat Dustin Poirier. I didn't say Dustin Poirier isn't a talented fighter. He's got some of the best boxing in the division. But, like I said, when you get put through that grind cycle of a wrestler, it exposes you. Yeah, you can look good going back and forth in the striking battle with Max Holloway and Justin Gaethje going back and forth in a boxing match. But when the going gets tough and you get put on your ass by a high-level wrestler, it exposes you. That's what it shows what you're made of. And he got exposed, and a little fanboy saying, oh, you've never been in a fight. You don't know. He'll whoop your ass, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, he got exposed. That was my first point. Like Israel Adesanya, he's never faced a grinder like Khabib. The first time he gets a high-level wrestler that like Khabib, that's going to take him down and manhandle him, he's going to get exposed. That's what happens, though. The UFC's going to do everything they can to keep him away from fighters like that. But that's what I got to get off my chest. Now, this ranking shit, man, it's just it's an opinion, man. It means nothing. So I don't know.
Well,
what's your thoughts on it? You think like you really look into it and shit? Think
Pound
it's a
for
big
pound,
deal?
no. I don't think it's a big deal pound for pound. But my problem is the rankings of the weight classes, because you kind of have to go by that to figure out who's next in line. You know, so if you got knuckleheads saying, "Hey, this one's 1, this one's 2, this one's 3," then it kind of screws things up. I think, for the most part, I can't really complain about the actual rankings. I really don't have much of a problem with them. I mean, pound for pound, I think I can argue more than the actual weight classes. So I guess leave it be. Have you ever seen a problem that it just drove you nuts in regular weight class rankings?
The only thing I didn't like is when Frankie Edgar got a title fight ahead of Volkanovski. I didn't like that. I thought Volkanovski beat Aldo in Brazil. Then Frankie Edgar beat Max Holloway on a 4-fight losing streak. It's stuff like that that pisses me off. I mean, they don't even go by rankings half the time.
Mm-hmm.
That's a problem. It's like the 14th ranked guy, Dan Hooker, will jump up and fight Edson Barboza, the 5th ranked guy. It's just whoever they want to promote. It's whoever they want to give a push to. That's the problem. So I don't even pay attention to the rankings. But I will say one thing. John Jones should not be number 1. You drug cheap piece of shit.
All
Fuck you, John Jones. Take it easy.
God. There he is. Wow. I take it, Jesse, he doesn't like John Jones. What do you think?
I don't blame him, Ross. I don't blame him.
You agree with one thing there, you and Kevin.
Mm-hmm.
All right, 516-522-0267. We'll take one more call, and then let's get into a couple more stories.
Well, at this point, we might not have time for any stories if we take one more call.
We'll go a couple of minutes late. It's no big deal. We got a lot of show to talk tonight. We'll do speed round through the stories. Cheer up. It's 9/11. 51. Hello, the unknown caller. You alive with the MMA-Holes? What's your name? Is this Drunk?
Yo.
It's Drunk Savage. What's up, Drunk?
What's going on? So, why do you think Khabib doesn't want to fight him at 170? Don't you think that would make more sense for his legacy to go up to welterweight and fight the best welterweight of all time?
I think this is a question for Jesse, because I agree with that. But
he wants to stay in one weight class where he's comfortable and he knows he's proficient in.
Okay, but then, GSP's at a disadvantage. I mean...
Well, some would say GSP has
and Anderson
an
were talking about fighting. They were talking about meeting in the middle. Mm-hmm. What about that?
GSP and who?
Anderson Silva.
Anderson.
Meeting in the middle?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're going to fight 179 and 180.
Well, I don't think Anderson's fighting again.
No, this was back in the day when they were in their prime.
Yeah, but Anderson's not Khabib. GSP knows that Khabib's not going to move from a different weight class. So
I think it's a pussy move. I think if he's
I don't.
If you're calling out a guy that fought at 170 and then 185 in his last fight, and you're like, come to my weight class. No, you should go to the GOAT's weight class.
GSP was the one to start posting pictures and shit on Instagram and Twitter saying that he was making 155.
Never said Khabib.
But he was still suggesting that he could make 155, and that was before Khabib called him out. And then Khabib called him out after that. So Khabib has every right. If GSP is going to put out the idea that he can make 155, it is only fair for Khabib to call him out at 155.
I think Khabib's being a pussy.
I think you just hate Khabib.
No, I think that you are riding him a little hard here right now.
I disagree.
If you're going to fight the GOAT, GSP, then you go to the 170 weight class. That's where you go. You don't say, hey, come to my weight class. No. GSP is the GOAT. GSP is the A-side, no, in this deal? Wouldn't you say? You're saying Khabib's the A-side?
Khabib's always the A-side.
Oh, my God. Drunk, what do you think about this?
I think they should meet in the middle somewhere. Make it fair.
Okay.
Like 165 or something. Because if GSP wins, he's not going to defend the belt. And then, they're going to have to fucking have like a tournament or something. Crown a new champion.
Jesse, thoughts?
What was that, Drunk?
Meet in the middle somewhere, like 165. Because if GSP doesn't win, or if GSP wins the title, he's not going to defend it. He already said he's leaving.
GSP's already left, and Khabib is not going to be defending the title anywhere else because he said at the UFC 242 post-fight press conference that he has no interest in becoming a double champ anywhere else. And the only reason
I'm not saying do a 165 title. I'm saying if GSP goes down to 155 and wins the belt, he's not defending it. So why even have a title fight there?
Well,
just have 165. So if Khabib loses, he's still the champ.
That's what I originally said. I said that why would GSP come back from a retirement for one fight, and if he wins the belt, what's he going to do? He's not going to stay to defend the belt. It would just be vacated, and then there would be no champ.
Okay,
so that part I do agree with you with, but...
So don't you think, Jesse, you think that Khabib should say, hey, listen, like Drunk saying, let's meet in the middle. let's just do this in the middle. This way, hey, if I lose, I'm not going to, it doesn't really blemish my, you get a loss, but I'm not going to lose the belt. Okay? We do it for money. We do it for legacy, right? Wouldn't that be a smart move?
It's not a legacy fight if it's not at 155.
Well, it's not a legacy if he goes to 170, right?
It's not legacy for Khabib if it's not at 155.
How many fights does just GSP have at 155? How many fights did he
Does
fight
Khabib
there?
have?
Does GSP have at 155?
I don't know. You're gonna have to look that up.
Zero. He has 0 at 155. So that's what I'm saying. It makes no sense. What legacy he'd ever fought at 155?
That doesn't mean he can't make 155. Moss.
It's so. This is Khabib fans. It doesn't make any sense. Doesn't make any sense, drunk. Can you talk some sense into my co-host?
I don't know, man, anymore.
It's all right, drunk. We tried. Hey,
I'm
listen.
a little too drunk.
Yeah. What are you sipping on?
It's Jameson.
Jameson. Ooh, nice. All right. Well, enjoy your
Can
Jameson.
I come over?
Jesse wants some Jameson
Sure.
too. Thank you for the call,
Be
man.
gentle.
Last words?
JVH, you should start adopting that Ed Bass passive when Moss cuts you off.
Yeah, I'm thinking about it.
We got a super chat coming in.
GSP is calling out Khabib. You can't call a champion out and order what needs to happen. Conor can't even do that anymore, so sit down.
Okay. What is he trying to say, though? Did you pick that up? GSP is calling out Khabib. You can't call out a champion out and order what needs to happen.
So mainly, he can't call out Khabib and say, oh, but it has to be at this division. No. If he's going to call out Khabib, it's going to be in Khabib's champ weight class, which is 155.
He's not calling out Khabib. Habib's calling out GSP.
GSP did call out Khabib.
GSP was calling out Conor. He wasn't calling out Khabib.
GSP did call out Khabib. Please look it up. Oh, my God. Please. I am begging you to prove me right.
Drunk, would you like to add on?
I believe GSP did say when asked if he would fight Khabib a long time ago, he said yeah.
Yeah, that he did. It
wasn't an official call out. He said, like, yeah, I'll fight him.
He was asked it, Jesse. It's not like he's calling him out.
You're so frustrating. Can you just look it up, please?
All right, Drunk. Thank you for the call, man. Appreciate it. Jesse, here, listen. I know you like Khabib. I get it. I get you like. And
no,
I'm
it's just
I'm
you
down
never
with that.
look it up. Whenever I have facts, you never want to look it up to
You
prove
have a
that I'm
computer
right.
right in front of you. Just prove me wrong.
How am I gonna use my computer for you to show everybody
you
else?
can
that
read
I'm
it
right?
off to us. I'll believe you. But what I'm saying is this. This is my recollection. I could be wrong. Maybe it slipped through the cracks. GSP was cutting weight, right? And he wanted to originally fight Conor. We both remember this, right? That was the fight that he wanted. And we were like, what is he doing calling out little Conor? This is ridiculous. And Conor's like, yeah, I'll take the fight. And all this bullshit was going on. Never materialized. Then when he was asked by reporters about Khabib Nurmagomedov, because there was rumblings Khabib was going in that direction, GSP was all for it, right? He was all for that fight. But he never said, hey, I want to call out Khabib Nurmagomedov.
GSP did call out Khabib at one point, and you need to look that up because I am right about that. You think I wouldn't know? The biggest fucking Khabib hater sitting right next to me.
I don't.
Thinks
That's
he
the
knows
problem.
more.
I don't hate Khabib, but you're making me hate him. I don't hate him. I like
Nobody
Khabib.
can make you do
But
anything,
here's
Moss.
the
That's
problem.
all on your own
He's
accord.
calling out a guy that fought at 170 and 185. Khabib is. You just read the article. Him and Ali Abdelaziz.
No,
is calling
Ali
out-
Abdelaziz says he would rather Khabib fight GSP instead of Tony Ferguson.
Oh.
Do not twist the article.
The bias, the horse blinders. It's nauseating. True grit.
Khabib fans are so cultish. Probably cause 90% of Khabib fans are Russians and Muslims who have nothing to look forward to in
Oh
their
my God.
crappy countries. He's basically Ben Askren with an accent.
Whoa.
Now I hope Khabib never loses so there isn't mass suicides.
Well, I don't know if I back that 100%. They are very cultish. Jessie's not Muslim, for God's sakes. She loves Khabib. You could tell by tonight. It sucks because I like Khabib. This is the thing I'm just being realistic. I've dogged Conor a million times. I've done shows dedicated to just dumping on Conor. Done it all the time. Doesn't mean I hate the guy. I'm a fan of Conor. Khabib I like a lot. I've always said he seems like a fucking cool dude. He seems like a cool dude. He's got his accomplishments speak for himself. The guy's fantastic. He could be one of the best. If he continues to defend this belt and do what he has to do and maul people the way he's mauling people, right now you could make the argument, you could solidify the argument if he keeps going in that direction. But to call out a guy that's fought at 170 and 185 and say, hey, come down to 155. Oh, by the way, you're the greatest of all time. Come down to 155 and fight me. No, he should be going to the GOAT.
If he's the greatest of all time, then why can't he make 155 and fight a healthy fight?
Oh, this is such biased bullshit. Jesse.
That's a logical argument.
It's official. I'm going to make this official right now. You've officially made me hate from this point on. I hate Khabib Nurmagomedov because of JBH. I officially hate him.
Nobody can make you do anything. You do that on yourself.
It's
So
official.
if it makes you feel more comfortable to blame everybody else, then have at it. But we all know that you just hate Khabib.
I'm sorry. I apologize to the Khabib fans out there. I've liked Khabib. I think Khabib is a fantastic
Until
fighter.
you decided that you
But I
hated him.
officially,
But you
I am
need
making this
someone else to
official.
blame for everything else. So
I'm not arguing. You're making this like a couple's
no,
argument.
but
What's
no,
going on
this is
here?
not. No, this is
I
all about
officially-
MMA, my friend. And you blamed me because you need someone to blame for why you hate Khabib.
Okay. I am not being salty. A Khabib fan is being salty.
What am I being
Therefore,
salty about? I've been all on Khabib this entire time. What am I being salty about? You're the one being salty.
what's next? I know you are, but what
Thank
am I?
you. I rest my case.
Hey, you give me a fucking headache. Anyway, let me know in the chat. Are you still a Khabib fan after tonight's debacle of a show? Corey.
Yo, can we change my sexy robot voice to Snoop?
That would be actually beautiful. If Snoop Dogg was the one to read out the donations, that would be fantastical. I have to figure out how to do that. Let's see what the chat's got going on here. I can't stand Khabib anymore. I'm done.
Danielle says GSP can do it like Cejudo. Something funny says I hate Khabib, but GSP does want the fight at 155. Thank you. Block Legend says name a fight Khabib knocked out anyone. Now fight against Singe, Nancy Gali, bitch, Kainoto. I think Moss is upset with Khabib's success.
You can't stop the Siberian Express. Choo-choo, motherfucker.
Oh my goodness.
Even if Khabib went up and beat him, what are people going to say? He beat an old GSP.
I wouldn't say
He
that.
wasn't in his prime. He laid on him. I could hear it already. I like how everyone forgot about GSP openly cheating by greasing himself up before the BJ Penn fight.
Yeah, GSP was guilty of a lot of weird shit that went on. Here's the thing. Vlad is right, and thank you for the donation. People will always dump on Khabib no matter what he does. If Khabib went to 170 and beats GSP, I don't care how fucking old he is. I mean, he beat GSP. That's good enough for me. That to me says, wow, this guy just went up in weight and fought George St. Pierre, a guy that's still in fantastic shape, that mutilated Michael Bisping at 185. I don't care what happens, but he's right. Some people will go there. True Grit. True Grit says,
BJ BH boo. I boo you.
You just got booed by a donation.
Well, most Khabib haters would boo me.
I think tonight you're playing the bad guy. Usually I'm the bad guy. This is actually refreshing. How does it feel to wear the bad guy hat?
I could give a fuck.
Wow. Tonight, mark this night in your calendars and your books, your notes, when you're taking notes during the show. September 11th, 2019, JBH has played the bad guy. Because, man, she is sticking to her guns here, and she is going, no matter, she's sinking with this ship. She don't give a fuck. And I have to give her credit for sticking to her guns, because whether we agree or disagree, she's held her own. So congratulations to JBH for officially making me an anti-Khabib person. All right, let's just read a couple of stories. Let's rattle through a couple of things over here and then wind the show down. What do we have on the MMA-Holes.com, the greatest website in the goddamn world?
Wonderful.
Let's go back up to the second story you had over here.
Colby Covington details the UFC's hostage negotiations for a Kamaru Usman fight at UFC 244. There have been a lot of talks about welterweight title fight between Usman and Covington for UFC 244 this November. The UFC, however, went another way and decided to book the BMF title fight between Nate Diaz and Jorge Masvidal to headline the MSG card. Usman never spoke out about what happened, but on Monday, Covington spoke with MMA Fighting to air his side of the story. He said what happened exactly was the UFC came to me and offered me a basic challenger's rate. I said, no, I'm not challenging. I'm a champion. I've never lost. I just defended my title. I brought in the Trumps. I got a tweet from Donald Trump. That's like $3.5 million in marketing. If you break down the analytics of it in itself just to promote their show. They didn't give me a negotiation. They said, take this or we'll just move on to someone else. That's not negotiating. That's bad business. And if that's how they want to do business, that's their problem. That's not my problem.
So he's ducking Usman.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I want to know the number. That's what I want to know. I'm dying to know what is that number that they threw at Colby. So apparently Usman is happy about the number, and Colby's the one that stopped this one. This is bullshit. It's number one bullshit.
This is number one bullshit.
I'm so sick of this fight. I wanted to see these two go at it so bad, and now I just want them to go away. Usman, go away. Covington, go away. Just get out of here. It's a shame that we have a baddest motherfucker belt for a Masvidal and a Diaz, and we can't get a title unification because these two numbnuts can't pull it together. It's on. And listen, Colby was he got the shaft in his last fight, so I understand why he wants to get paid. but enough is enough. I'm sick of this. Just what's going on? What is the number? We need to find out. Does someone know what the fucking number is? Anyway, let's move on to the next story.
Tony Ferguson called Khabib Nurmagomedov's UFC 242 performance boring and lazy, and he hopes to fight in December. He said it was
O'Connor agreed.
Lazy, one-dimensional, nothing against him, but both guys did awesome fight week. I know there was a lot of nerves and stuff. Khabib showed up. He obviously won, but he put the pressure on Dustin, and Dustin didn't have an answer for it. Props to Khabib for winning, but like I said, it's lazy. We've prepared for this guy many times. He's a good fighter, but I know how to break that goat. Well, being my type of fighter and my type of guy, I throw a lot of barrage of punches, kicks, knees, and elbows. So when I see him pushing against the cage and not really doing much, being active and just kind of putting themselves like a wet blanket. In jiu-jitsu, we use that saying. He's a wet blanket just sitting there. It's a lot of pressure. When I fought Danny Castillo, he did the same thing. It's interesting how Khabib fights, but to me, it's just boring. It's lazy.
Tony Ferguson. Do it for me. Do it for me, Tony Ferguson. You're talking a big game, and you've backed it up in multiple fights. You look fantastic against Cowboy Cerrone. But Tony Ferguson, after tonight, I need you to do it for me. UFC, make this fight happen. Enough with the GSP bullshit. This is the fight everyone wants to see. Khabib fans want to see it because they want to shut the haters up. That's what the Khabib fans want, right, Jesse? Don't you want to see this fight or no?
Yes, I do very much.
What would you rather see, this or the GSP fight?
This or the GSP fight at 155 or the GSP fight at a different weight class?
All right, say you get your wish and it's at 155.
GSP.
Because you think he has a better shot against GSP at 155.
No, I think Khabib has a better shot against anyone. I don't think it depends on the fighter. I think Khabib will win against anyone. I think he is a true performer. I think even if he fought GSP at a different weight class, Khabib would win. But
are you afraid of El Kakui?
No.
Is there a part of you that's a little nervous about
I think he would win against Tony Ferguson too.
Mm-hmm.
I think both fights are very exciting, and it would be difficult to choose.
Do you mind if we go a little longer tonight? I want to keep on going.
I have to pee again.
All right, go take a piss. Ladies and gentlemen, since we have 222 people hanging with the boys.
Hanging with the boys.
We were ranting and raving back and forth. We took some phone calls. I want to finish up the stories, and whatever it takes to finish up these stories, we're going to just rattle through them, and we're going to go longer. You hanging with us? Hit me with the one in the chat on this Wednesday night as Jesse goes to take a piss. Are you hanging with the boys tonight with the MMA-Holes? Drop a 1 in the chat if you're wonderful.
Wonderful.
100 likes over here. Look at that. They're liking this shit up. We're going to take it a little bit longer because we do have a lot of stuff to talk about. El Kakui versus Khabib Nurmagomedov has to happen. And there they go. The ones are in the chat. Yeah, the ones are flying. These people are hardcore MMA-Holes over here. Wanting it up on a Wednesday night. Look at them all. Oh my God. Chris Richards, Corey Webb, and HCC. They're all flying. Cocoa Butt's flying.
Wonderful.
Fucking A, man. I'm going longer because I'm doing it for me. I enjoy doing this shit. I really do. Let me know in the chat. Did you see the A side? Danny Segura was on today, and I don't know who the other host is. His name is Jose something. Jose Cuervo. I don't know. But he was, the A side, it was Mark Ramondi's show at Sean Shalshadi or whatever the hell his name was. Sean Al-Shadi.
Wonderful.
Sean Al-Shidi. I don't know what his name is. But they all left. They went to ESPN. And now the A side is still there for MMA fighting. And MMA fighting has almost 1 million subscribers. Today, once again, they had audio issues while they're doing their show. How does a wimpy MMA whole show like this, right? I mean, who are we, right? We don't have a big, powerful Vox to invest money into our production. We take from the audience and we fucking throw it right back in over here. We've had issues with audio, but we've corrected those issues and we keep going forward. We've only been doing this for 3 years. How the hell does MMA fighting have problems after problems, issues after issues, over and over again, trying to fix these situations, and they are powered by Vox? Baffles me. Let me know in the chat. Did you see their show today? I think it's on Wednesdays at 1, if I'm not mistaken. But they had this echo with the audio, and you kind of felt for these guys. You're like, what's going on? These two poor guys are trying to do a show, and the chat's ripping. The chat was just lighting them on fire. I was involved, but they were ruthless, the chat. Niall Flanagan.
Tony wants a fight before the end of the year. I think that Khabib doesn't want it, so Mystic Mac might get a crack.
Whoa.
Hashtag his foot was a balloon.
My foot was a balloon.
Wow. Well, if you make Conor the co-main with Dustin Poirier, then God forbid anything happens with Tony Khabib. God forbid. I mean, it fell apart 4 times. If it does it another on the 5th time, at least you have a backup plan. I think if it falls into play as a backup plan, fans wouldn't go too crazy about it, you know? But if you threw Conor in the mix now, it's just no, it's not good. Now, Conor and Dustin went back and forth with tweets, right? Do we have that story?
Yes.
Let's segue into that story over there, if you didn't see it. And to just finish my point about the MMA fighting, it makes me feel, I feel bad for the guys, you know, when you have technical difficulties. We've been there and it sucks, but it's one and done and you fix the problem. Guys, this show over here, with no one behind it besides myself and Jesse, there is no producer, there's nothing else going on. It's just 2 people and an awesome community. We give you the best fucking show out there, okay? That's what we guarantee over here on the MMA-Holes. Not like this other amateur hour bullshit.
Now, with that being said, Moss, I would just like to make an announcement.
Okay, Jesse, go for it.
As much as I loathe your hatred for Khabib Nurmagomedov.
I didn't hate him until after tonight.
Well, as much as I loathe it, and as much as you get under my skin about this topic, I still appreciate and value your opinions, even though they're wrong. And I just want to say, thanks for being my MMA fan buddy.
Well, Jesse, I want to say something too. I was a little harsh tonight on you.
You were.
And I just want to say that I really do apologize to absolutely nobody.
I knew that was coming.
My foot was a balloon.
Yeah, I knew that was coming.
All right.
Didn't surprise me.
All right. Let's get into that story with the tweet conversation between these 2 knuckleheads.
According to MMA Mania, Conor McGregor responded to Dustin Poirier's call-out. Following a disappointing loss at UFC 242 title bout with Khabib Nurmagomedov, Dustin Poirier's path forward did not immediately appear clear, as the top contender even briefly mentioned retirement. However, given just a few days to reflect, Poirier seems ready to get back on the horse, tweeting earlier today that a rematch with Conor McGregor would make sense for both men. He tweeted, quote, "I think me and Conor running it back makes a lot of sense at this point." To put it simply, Poirier is correct. The Diamond deserves a top contender following his loss, and McGregor has to jump back in the top-ranked lightweight before it talks of rematching Nurmagomedov in Moscow makes any sense at all. Given the history between the two and their diverging career paths, it would be very interesting bout that could produce a significant victory for either athlete. McGregor, however, did not jump at the offer, instead taking to Twitter to belittle Poirier and talk about their first fight. He said, quote, I fed you to the canvas in 90 seconds, bro. You should have spoke my name with a bit more respect in that build-up. McGregor's not next, motherfucker. It's McGregor always. McGregor is the GOAT always. Say that now and I'll think about it. Hashtag gone in 90 seconds. Hashtag Nick Cage. Hashtag a Jolie.
All right, whether you hate or love either of these fighters, it really doesn't matter. I feel this is the fight. This has to be the fight. This falls together very nicely. Both lost to Khabib. Dustin lost to Conor in 90 seconds and wants to get the redemption. I think if the Diamond can pull it off at 155, which he looked fantastic. Other than the Khabib fight, Dustin's looked great over there. So he's more active right now. I think he has an advantage because he's been busy. You know, Conor lost. He hasn't won in what, 2000 and when was his last? When was the Alvarez fight? I mean, what was it, 2016 or some shit, or 15? I don't even know how long ago it was. It seems like forever. So Conor McGregor, it's been a long time since he won inside the octagon. So now is the time to make this fight. It, to me, favors the Diamond. Of course, I'm going to pick Conor, right, Conor? Yes, but this is the fight that has to happen, Jesse. What do you say?
I agree. I think that this is the fight that should be put together. I'm not opposed to this fight at all.
I forgot about the Nate fight. That's right. That was his last fight.
I think this would be in Poirier's best interest, putting him up in the rankings since Conor is above him right now. And I also think that it's only fair that Conor gets a fight with someone like Poirier instead of a title contender fight, because he doesn't deserve it right now. He's been out of the ring. He lost his last fight to the champion. The least they can do is give Diamond a fight with Conor.
I think it works for both guys here. It really does. And now Conor doing this, do you think he's brushing off the diamond, or is he trying to stir the pot? What
No,
would you
I think
say?
he's brushing him off.
You think so? So you think he really does indeed want that Moscow fight with Khabib?
No, I don't think he wants a Moscow fight with Khabib. I think he did that to start a little bit of a hype about something. I don't think he actually believes that something like that's going to happen. But I also think that he thinks he deserves a better fight than Poirier. He knows he's not going to get a rematch with Khabib, but why not do it to create some hype, right? Same thing with this. He's just doing it to create some hype.
All right, you said two completely different things there. So
About what?
No, you basically said you don't think he's trying to create some controversy with this with Dustin, but then you backtrack.
I'm sorry. Yes, he's using this situation to create a hype, but he doesn't want this fight. I think he wants something different.
Okay.
Someone maybe of a higher
So you're saying
ranking
basically he's planting a seed just in case this is the fight that happens.
If, like a
you can use
fallback.
this. Okay. All right. And I think that's what he's doing as well. If it doesn't fall, if the UFC is a bunch of knuckleheads and they put the fight with Khabib together. Now, I mean, you think Moscow, you're thinking, okay, who's going to fill a building with Khabib? Actually, Khabib's going to fill a building no matter what. But if Conor is there, you're thinking, okay, now you have a worldwide phenomenon.
Yes.
If the UFC could be foaming at their mouths right now, like, holy shit, look what we could do.
They could have a Khabib title defense as the main event, put Conor as the co-main, and something like this, like creating hype like this, or Conor fighting any other fighter, put Conor and Khabib on the same card, even if they're not fighting each other.
Can't do that in Moscow, though.
No, not in Moscow.
No, but that's you're missing the point that you're missing what I'm saying.
No,
here.
I said I didn't think that Conor was going to be in Moscow.
You missed my point. So what I'm saying is, in Moscow, okay, Conor's calling Khabib out in Moscow, and the UFC could be like, holy shit, if we put something like that together, fuck the rankings, fuck him losing. Could you imagine
Do you really think they're going to
how we could stop? Now, I think it'd be insane because Conor would be risking his life.
Exactly. Why would they throw Conor in Russia, of all places?
This is why I say that. Conor already had the whole Putin thing. He already, had that interaction and stuff like that. So I think for business, it would make Russia a ton of money. It would make the U.S. a lot of money. I think these people would get together and say, hey, listen, this would make a hell of a lot of money.
I think that would be an extremely dangerous stunt by the UFC, and I don't think they would risk it.
Well,
after what happened
money talks
at UFC 223, after what happened for the post-fight melee at UFC 220, what was it, 6 or whatever, whichever one it took place at, after those two circumstances, I think that would be the most dangerous stunt the UFC could pull when it comes to Conor McGregor.
Look at what Kevin from Chicago says. Moscow isn't filled with Dagestani animals. Moscow's Slavic Christians.
I don't care what you say. I think that...
I just wanted to read that.
I think it'd be extremely dangerous to throw Conor in Russia.
I don't want to see that fight. I don't want to see that fight right now. What I think is the winner... If Conor fights Poirier, right, and he beats Poirier, then you can make an angle for that. You can say, all right, well, he got to win, and you can angle it. But coming off a loss to Khabib, it's not like Conor's defending the belt here. He took a loss to Khabib. He was challenging Khabib. So taking that loss, he does not deserve it. But what I'm saying is that with the UFC, they could angle some money thing and put that together. I am hoping that doesn't happen, okay? I'm really, really hoping that doesn't happen. I feel this is the fight. I said it right after this happened. After the Diamond lost, make this fight happen. Co-main Khabib and Tony Ferguson. That's it. That's it. All right. Do it for me. Let's go to the next story over here. Scroll back up. And
Jorge Masvidal has asked The Rock to put the BMF title around his waist at UFC 244. Just when you thought it couldn't get more WWE than this.
This is making me hate this fight. It really is making me. I'm starting to loathe this fight. A fight that's fire.
100% agree with you. Throughout this entire show tonight, I think this might be the first time that I 100% agree with you.
All right. What's the story? And then I'll complain about this.
According to Bloody Elbow, as you probably know by now, Nate Diaz and Jorge Masvidal will be fighting for a unique prize in the headliner at UFC 244, a newly created BMF title. UFC President Dana White says it's a one-time thing and the belt won't be defended, but it is still working as intended to bring more attention to the event and a bout we all want to see anyway. The fight announcement has sparked wide-ranging interest, and one of the biggest celebrities on earth is hoping to be in attendance. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson posted a comment on UFC's Instagram about the bout, saying that he will do all he can to be there for this one. To that point, Masvidal tweeted The Rock directly with a unique request. The tweet was, quote, "At The Rock, I'm telling at Dana White I want you to put it around my waist, 305, all day, hashtag super necessary."
I want you to put it around my waist.
Well, believe it or not, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson did respond. He said, doing all I can to make this fight. If I can and you win, I'll put the belt around your waist at MSG. Consider it done. Already shaping up to be one of the biggest and most electrifying fights in the UFC history. Can't wait. Johnson has strong roots in Miami, spending part of his childhood there and attending the University of Miami to play football, so that's the 305 connection Masvidal is referencing. If the UFC could make that work, it would add even more of a draw to the November 2nd event in Madison Square Garden in New York. Can I give my opinion first? What are we doing? This is the UFC. This is not WWE. This is not professional wrestling. Like, this is the UFC, the home of mixed martial arts, where real fights happen, where real belts are earned. And now we've got not only the BMF belt, baddest motherfucker, which is a huge WWE ploy. Not only do we have that, but now we have a former professional WWE wrestler coming into the game to put the belt around a professional mixed martial artist's waist. What are we doing, Moss?
The BMF belt, that stands for bowel movement fart belt. Is that what it is?
The bowel movement fart belt? I've ever heard in my life. This is like I'm losing interest in the UFC.
Okay. So because we have this beautiful MMA show, of course, we have to, the highs and the lows, we have to report the news and discuss this stuff and watch these fights. And this fight is a fantastic fight. It really is. It's a great fight. It's the fight the fans wanted to see. The UFC has successfully taken a fantastic fight and made it a joke. Just to get some more casual people involved and going the WWE angle. I like theatrics. I'm into it. I wish the UFC had some interesting walks to the cage, kind of like how Bellator does, and I'm down with that stupidity, you know? But fighting for a belt that's the baddest motherfucker or the bowel movement fart belt, why? Why do we have to see this? And if this is the main event for Madison Square Garden, is it confirmed? I don't think it is. I think they're saying it is, but I can't wrap my head around the fact that this is the main event.
It is indeed confirmed.
Oh, my God.
The belt is indeed confirmed, and it will take place as the main event for UFC 244. Here's my problem. This fight is an incredible matchup. It's incredible. And the UFC is completely bypassing the fact that they have in their hands a fantastic fight.
It's not even incredible, Jesse. I hate to break it to you. It's a good fight. It's a good fight. But combined, they are on a 3-fight win streak.
But, okay, forget about the win streak. I'm saying
it's ridiculous.
Look at who they are. First of all, look at the fan draw. Both of them have a fan draw, especially Jorge Masvidal, who's built up a fan draw over the last few months. Nate Diaz always had that fan draw, built it even more when he came back and fought, right? So that alone is enough to pull in the numbers. And then you've got two phenomenal fighters. You've got extreme striker, but it doesn't matter. They're still extreme strikers. They're very well-rounded. You could say that there are fighters better than them. 100% I would agree with you.
There's a lot of fighters better than them.
But this is still a good fight. And for them to put some shitty fucking name on the belt and to say, oh, this is for the baddest motherfucker. How can you take this fight seriously? Like, I would 100% take this fight more seriously if they just put this fight on the card. That's it, MMA fight. But then they had to go and add that stupid fucking belt. And it's like, it just ruins everything because this is actually a good fight to me. I'm actually interested in this fight.
Only the UFC can take this fight and make it suck. Only the UFC could pull that off. And they successfully done it. Because honestly, I'm loathing this now. It's like, I don't even want to see the end of the fight. Because now we got to see a dopey belt come out. The bowel movement fart belt.
Wouldn't Meth baddest motherfucker apply to the champion of the division? It would be embarrassing to wrap a fictional belt around your waist that can't be defended and wasn't taken from the champion. Leave the fight but make it for nothing.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's exactly what I'm saying. Like what the fuck, man?
How is Nate Diaz not opening his mouth and be like, this is so fucking stupid?
Because Nate Diaz...
He's a badass.
He needs the hype right now. He just came back to the UFC. He had one fight in the UFC. He's already back in training. He needs that hype. He's not going to say a damn word.
Okay, where are my WWE fans in the chat? Because I know there are some wrestling fans in the chat, and they probably love this. Their ears are probably bleeding listening to us complain about this baddest motherfucker thing. So
We're not the WWE. The UFC is not the WWE. It's completely different. And that's what we prided ourselves on as UFC fans.
Okay. the UFC has taken a page from the WWE many of times. They have done it.
But this time
even to
is
the ESPN
the
Plus.
worst. This is the worst situation I've seen.
PBR coming in.
Most please stop. You're making me hate this fight.
You're going to loathe it when I'm done. Thank you, PBR. But really, listen, the UFC has taken from WWE before. This is not the first time. So I understand why they're doing
But
this.
they've never taken the name of a belt for theatrical purposes.
No, this is peak stupid. This is the dumbest thing we've ever seen. Ever. Now, there are people in this chat that have seen some crazy shit. Been through the Pride days, the crossovers, the nutty stuff, the Rampage Jackson. I mean, Rampage was if anyone's WWE, that guy is. You know, the circus of McGregor. You know, there's a lot of things that have happened in and outside of the cage. This here is the craziest thing that we're going to see within the UFC, and it happens to do with a Jorge Masvidal who beat a hype train in Darren Till, right? Who was it before? Who you know? Oh, what the fuck? Why am I? I'm Ben Askren. The knee to Ben Askren. So let me get this straight. Ben Askren, who had a controversial fight the first time against Robbie Lawler, right? Who, I mean, a lot of people are still up in arms about that. And then he fights Jorge Masvidal and gets a knee knocked out, the quickest knockout ever. Jorge Masvidal, no one was giving a fuck about Jorge until those two fights over there. And you look at the two guys. I mean, Robbie is a beast, but that's a questionable win over there. And then you got Nate Diaz, who, listen, Nate Diaz is bad as fuck. He is a bad motherfucker. But he's not even a gatekeeper, Nate.
He
was never even a gatekeeper.
King K in the chat says, what's the point of a belt if you can't defend it? And that's a fair point. And if you think about it, if whoever wins this belt, you know, it is what it is. It's a prize belt. You know, like they're not defending this belt. It's not a division belt. It's not anything like that. So it's like, why have it in the first place? And this kind of goes back to the whole Khabib GSP thing. Why would GSP come back to defend a belt that he's not going to defend to anybody else? It's very similar. Like, they're fighting for a belt that practically doesn't exist. You know, it doesn't exist.
Yeah, it doesn't.
It doesn't exist. and now they're making it exist for a brief minute for what, 2 minutes of fame? And then what's going to happen? They're not going to defend it anymore. They're just still going to be in the same position they're in the rankings, in the division, and whatever, depending on who wins.
So what happened here? So Nate Diaz wins the fight, right? His last fight against Anthony Pettis, and that was fun to watch. Nate Diaz on the 3-year layoff, excuse me, comes in there, beats Anthony Pettis at 170, and it was a fun fight, man. Nate Diaz is so much fun to watch, right? Nate Diaz comes back, and he says he wants the baddest motherfucker fight. He wants the Jorge Masvidal fight, gets it done. And then this whole belt thing surfaces after that. It takes a good idea from Nate Diaz, right? And then the UFC takes a big shit on it with that belt. It's nuts. It's fucking nuts. All right, you know how we feel about this. Chat room, we want to know what you think. And I want to hear from the WWE people. I want to hear those fans over there that like the wrestling.
Dawa Dean says, BMF equals bitch-made fighters. LOL, this is a belt Stone Cold would put on in I missed the rest, I'm sorry. Oh, I'll pull out in 2002. Dave Flores says, only the real MMA heads understand this fight, this title, BMF belt. Super fight simply, says Chris Richards. Vigo Stockholm research, and I missed the rest. Zoltan says, Diaz could have called for 165 title, no BMF, but he knew Dana wouldn't go for that. 808 says, I want to see the half-ass belt.
Half-ass belt. PBR.
I am so fucking pissed over this stupid belt.
I agree.
It's silly.
It's the dumbest thing. And it sucks because, like I said, the fight is great. Leave the fight. Keep the fight on the card. Leave it where it is. Don't do the fucking belt.
You know what we should do? We should start a thing on Twitter and say, thank you for this fight, but fuck you to that belt. Fuck the BMF belt. BFM. Yeah. We should do we should put a tweet out, get the MMA-Holes to retweet this thing, get it out there.
Make it clear that we're not
happy with this.
We're not the WWE. Like, we're not that, like, theatrical wrestling type of organization. This is the UFC.
Hold on a second.
This is pro MMA fighting.
Here we go. Angel Rodriguez. What does Angel say?
I'm a WWE fan, but I agree with you guys. It's not necessary. I agree.
Wow. Now it's from a WWE fan. That is a WWE fan right there. There is a time and place, you know. You can have your theatrics, but not here in the UFC. That is silly.
It's hard to take the UFC seriously with some shit like this.
So many ways you could dump on that shit. But anyway, all right. Let's see. Turkenstein says, "What JBH? Have you seen UFC lately? It is WWE." So he's saying
it's completely changed. Like, it's the worst. It's the absolute worst. This isn't the first time that something like this happened. Take Brock Lesnar for example. When Brock Lesnar was done coming in and doing all his theatrics and shit like that, like, this isn't the first time this has happened. This is just the first time that I have seen them completely take a page from the WWE's book and completely change the name of a belt that can't even be defended.
All right.
That's when it becomes a little bit of it.
I got to move on because now it's making me. I'm getting nauseous from talking about this. It's so fucking retarded. We'll be complaining about this all the way to the fight, and it's a shame because it's a good fight. It's a good one to watch, but to add a weird strap to this thing is, I don't know. Anyway, Justin Gaethje, Conor McGregor.
Yeah, he says that he wants Conor McGregor or the Khabib versus Ferguson winner. They're the only options after Cowboy Cerrone.
He's already looking past. Bad move.
Well, no. Funny you say that. He's not looking past his fight with Donald Cerrone this weekend, but it's also impossible to ignore the landscape of the UFC lightweight division after what unfolded this past Saturday night. Khabib Nurmagomedov finished interim champ Dustin Poirier in the third round, which should set up an inevitable showdown with Tony Ferguson later this year or in early 2020. Meanwhile, Gaethje takes on Cerrone in the main event this weekend at UFC Vancouver.
Super chat PBR making it rain.
UFC is no WWE. This is fooked shit.
I agree.
Oh man, PBR is fired up. I agree. We both agree.
Meanwhile, Gaethje takes on Cowboy in the main event of UFC Vancouver this weekend. The former World Series of Fighting champ believes a win will leave him with only two options about what comes next. He said, quote, "I think there's two options for me. Whoever wins, Khabib Nurmagomedov against Tony, or I fight Conor." Gaethje said this when speaking to MMA Fighting. He continued on by saying, "Those are the two options I'll be looking at when I'm done." A few weeks back, McGregor mentioned Gaethje's name as a potential opponent that had been floated to him when he was contemplating a return to action in July. Unfortunately, McGregor ended up suffering a broken hand in training, which prevented him from fighting anybody until later this year at the earliest. According to Gaethje, he was never offered a fight against McGregor, so he can't say for certain if there was ever any reality surrounding the potential matchup. Gaethje has talked about facing McGregor in the past, and if offered the chance to meet him after the fight with Cowboy, he would undoubtedly take it. This past weekend, following Nurmagomedov's win over Poirier at UFC 242, McGregor chimed in by asking for a rematch against the reigning lightweight champ in his native Russia. Gaethje took the opportunity to respond while blasting McGregor for his behavior outside the cage. He said, quote, "You're a tool. You have lost everything already. You are a shit human, father, and husband.
Whoa.
Fuck you." Whether he gets the fight or not remains to be seen, but Gaethje says McGregor is going to have a tough time against any of the elite athletes at the top of the lightweight division, no matter the name on the other side of the contract. Gaethje obviously puts himself in that list of dangerous opponents for McGregor, and he's looking forward to the chance to prove it if all goes well this weekend against Cowboy.
All right, so I mean, listen, I'm kind of into that fight too. If the winner, if Gaethje, either fighter, if Gaethje or Cowboy wins, you can throw that in the mix for the Conor red panty night. You can do that as well. I'm cool with that too. I'd rather see the Dustin rematch. I'd rather see that because I feel if he beats Poirier, it kind of puts him back in that picture again. Mm-hmm. I'd rather see that. But Gaethje would be a fucking fire fight. Cowboy would be a fire fight. Both fights were supposed to happen. So why not? Why not make that happen? And maybe that's what Conor's waiting for too. Maybe that's what the UFC is waiting for. Let's see how this goes down. What can we market better? And then we'll make the fight. All right. I'm down.
All right.
Is that it?
Well, we can speed through the last couple.
Yeah, just blast through them.
Anthony Pettis and Diego Sanchez want to fight for each other at UFC 245, but it's not confirmed yet. It's just
all right. So Diego Sanchez is going full CTE. He really wants to go there, right? Okay. Death for Diego. Cool.
Leon Edwards says, fuck Colby Covington. He's calling for a title shot with Kamaru Usman since Covington and Usman did not work out.
I'd be down to see Edwards versus Covington. If that's not going to work, sure. Edwards has been on fire.
And then Ryan Bader has offered proof that he did not eye poke Chuck Congo at the last Bellator 226 event. He said, looking back at every video I've seen, I had my finger in his nose, basically. And that's when he winced and grabbed his eye. I haven't seen any picture or there's no videos that they brought forward or anything like that shows my thumb going into his eye. And like I said at the press conference, if it did, it was unintentional. We're in close quarters right there. I was pushing off and then going back in and looking at that. It was right in his nose. And then he posted a picture of his eye being red right there. He was just in a fist fight, you know. I hit him with a good uppercut. So going back, I think they would come out with some evidence and proof that I did get him in the eye, but there hasn't been any of that.
Shit card, shit fight, shit outcome. Ryan Bader gets the no contest win. And I do want to end with this. I want to end with Jacare Souza. We didn't get a chance to talk about this on. We spoke about this on the second channel. Link in the description, not the MMA-Holes. This broke when we were live on that playing some video games. So if you're not subscribed, give us a sub. But Jacare is moving up to 205.
Yes.
And he's fighting Jan Blachowicz.
Yes.
This throws a whole monkey wrench into the situation over here. Now middleweight is losing Jacare. Jacare going up, taking Blachowicz away from the John Jones scenario. John Jones says he has big fight news coming up. And now I feel there are only two options. Someone threw a third one with Brock coming back in the mix. I don't know if I see that, but you never know. If you're having the baddest motherfucker belt, you never know with Brock Lesnar. But John Jones versus DC, John Jones versus Stipe, those might be the fights here.
Two potential options.
Yeah. So the question is, what would you rather see? I know DC took the loss to Stipe Miocic, but we're talking money here, and John Jones would probably love to kick Daniel's ass one more time. Daniel would probably try to, avenge one of his losses now. He could either avenge the Stipe loss or the John Jones loss. The question is, how quick does Stipe want to turn it back around? I think that's where it comes down to here. But what do you think is the next fight for Johnny Bones, who should be fighting before the year's up?
I honestly don't think it's going to be either of those two. I think they're going to put together another, fluffer fight for John.
So you're thinking that it's going to be Brock Lesnar?
I don't know if it's going to be Brock Lesnar, but I think they're going to give him a fluffer opponent. I think it's just going to. I think it's just going to be anyone that is willing to fight John at the time. Maybe challenge for the title.
You took the contender away. I mean, all right. So Cormier lost. I mean, Cormier is still on the list. I don't even know why.
Still got Reyes.
So you have Santos, who's hurt, okay, which was a great fight. Santos put up a good fight.
Anthony Smith just came out of a fight with him recently.
Man,
so
don't give them a rematch right yet.
So they might do the rematch there. Or you've got Dominic Reyes. Jan Blachowicz is taken.
Nope. Dominic Reyes is fighting Weidman.
Oh, there you go. Okay, so it would be either an Anthony Smith rematch or maybe even Corey Anderson. Oh, wait. Corey Anderson's coming up, right?
Listen,
there is got done fighting.
There is no one here. Corey Anderson's locked up,
well,
too.
Well, you've got Raychik as a top 10 top 10 contender, and we've talked about Raychik before.
Oh, my goodness.
So they might give him Raychik.
A number 10 fighter fighting for the belt?
Listen.
No.
He's a top 10 contender.
It's not happening.
And everyone else is taken and or injured.
Nope.
And I really don't think that he's getting the rematch with DC right now. I don't see him fighting Brock Lesnar. I certainly don't see him fighting Stipe. So I would say give him Raychik.
I hate to break it to you, Jesse. That's not happening.
Okay.
I would delete the channel if John Jones' next fight was against Rakic.
Well, you never know.
I would delete the channel.
No,
delete.
you wouldn't. Stop.
I would. John Jones is either fighting. There are three names. Daniel Cormier for the third time.
He can't fight Brock Lesnar.
He's gonna fight Stipe Miocic, or somehow, and I think Drunk Savage is the one that brought this up. I think Drunk Savage might be right on this one, too. I mean, Brock Lesnar, you could be floating in there. I know
he can't fight Brock Lesnar. He just signed a new contract with the WWE.
That means shit.
He used the UFC. No, it doesn't.
No, it doesn't.
He cannot fight Brock Lesnar right
now.
Now,
if you're saying because of the testing pool, the drug testing pool,
it's not about that.
What I'm saying is if he is in the pool, I don't know if he's in the testing pool.
That is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. He's not going to fight Brock Lesnar.
Jess, I hate to break it to you.
I'm sure you can.
But he was under contract the last time he fought. He was under contract with the WWE.
And he was going through the testing pool since January.
That's what I'm saying. If he can't fight, don't get so defensive.
I'm not getting
what
defensive.
I'm saying is the only way he can't fight John Jones is if he's
not going to fight Brock Lesnar.
If he's not in the testing pool.
Yeah.
If I were to say to you, if you were to say to me, who is the front runner? It's not Brock. No. But you can put him there somewhere. You never know.
All right, well, I don't think he's fighting either three of them. I think that it's going to be a top 10 contender of some sort.
What about Khabib Goat throws in Rumble Johnson, who should be back next year? But what if
Rumble had a fight coming up with BKFC?
No. You want someone to die? No. Rumble is training for the UFC again. He wants to come back heavyweight, but I think he's coming back next year. But what if? Who knows?
Well, John Jones even said that he wouldn't fight Rumble Johnson. He said that he's glad Rumble retired before he was fighting as a champion. He said because Rumble Johnson would be someone that he thinks he would have lost against. So he won't take up an opportunity with Rumble. I honestly think it's not going to be DC, it's not going to be Stipe, and it's certainly not going to be Brock Lesnar, but he will fight a top 10. They're going to give him a fluff fight.
Do you think Khabib wants to fight him at 155? He wants Bones to come down to 155 like GSP?
Yeah, that's what I believe.
Please come back to 155. That's what we want. That's where fight needs to happen. All right, who is John Jones fighting before the year is up? Let me know in the chat, and then we're going to wind this shite down. extra bonus show tonight.
JBH mumbling there. I always mumble. Rumble looks like the guy who ate Rumble Johnson. Rumble versus deep fried steak. Take some calls. GSP. Johnny Walker. No, Johnny Walker. See, here's the problem. Johnny Walker's number 11 on the list.
No, he's fighting Corey Henderson.
And he's number 11. I feel like if they're going to ever give him a fight against a newer type of opponent, it's going to be Alexander Rakic first. Yeah, unless Johnny Walker finds himself up in the top 10, which he's not there yet.
He's already got an opponent. So
but regardless, take the opponent away. I'm saying this is what I think is going to happen. Brock Lesnar versus Triple C. Joey Buttafuoco for the win.
Wonderful, wonderful.
Brock Lesnar versus Henry Cejudo for the BMF belt. DC or Stipe. Beast losing, but a good test. John Jones isn't doing a super fight next.
All right. So there's the chat. They're going there. We see Ngannou over there. We see a lot of things. Ngannou is another one you can throw out there. That'd be insane. But big fight for John Jones. We're going to leave it at that. Let us know in the comment section down below when this thing processes what are your thoughts on what is next for Johnny Bones Jones. And we will see you. Well, Jesse will see you tomorrow. For what show is that, Jesse?
The fight briefing. Join me at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I will be live tomorrow night. We will be running down UFC Vancouver Cowboy versus Gaethje. We'll go over all the fights on the main card, all of the fighters, and fight picks. So tune in there.
And I got to say once again, thank you. We have 200 people still hanging with the boys.
Hanging with the boys.
I really want to thank everyone for coming back to this show. Make sure you share and like away, and we really appreciate it. We can't do this without you guys. Shout out to the people who have lost someone during 9/11. Our hearts always go out to you each and every year. It doesn't matter what your politics are or what your opinions are. It doesn't matter. If you lost someone, we feel for you, and we hope you get through the day. You got through the day very well. Definitely share this shit. Don't be selfish. Don't keep this for yourself. Share this with your friends. All right, I'll see you Friday, but Jesse will see you tomorrow. Say those magical words, JBH.
Don't be an a-hole. Be an MMA-hole.
Foot was up a leon.